The scene opens with a young office worker, a bewildered expression on his face, as he hears a sentence from his team leader. "I'm sorry, Yoon-ho," the team leader, with his thinning hair, explains, "it's not that we dislike you or anything. You know how the economy is these days." He trails off, becoming increasingly awkward, forcing a smile. "Of course, we'd love to keep working with you. We know how hard you've worked these past 2 years." What am I saying? Not wanting to keep his leader waiting, Lee Yoon-ho speaks up. "Yes, I understand. And my name is Lee Yoon-ho." He looks seriously at his computer screen, assuring his team leader, "I will finish my remaining tasks here properly. Today, I've been laid off." 2 years ago, he joined the company as a contract worker. The contract was for 2 years, during which he tried his best. When colleagues would ask, "Hey, Yoon-ho, can you help me with this?" he always responded enthusiastically, "Of course, what do you need?" He had worked incredibly hard, no matter how difficult the task. Lee Yoon-ho had persevered to become a full-time employee. A colleague would instruct, "If you check the computer, you'll find our previous month's payment report." Yoon-ho would focus intently on learning new things. "Understood, no problem." But the result was, MS Group, Strategic Planning Department, Lee Yoon-ho. As you can see, now his team leader is trying to soften the blow after delivering his termination notice. "It's not because you were lacking in any way. It seems the transition to full-time employment wasn't successful, right?" He fumbles for an explanation. "Well, it's restructuring. They call it restructuring. Since it's a company decision, I hope you don't take it personally." Yoon-ho doesn't look at his team leader's face, his expression unchanged. "Of course not. I'm not upset with you, team leader." 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, the team leader places his hand on the desk divider and exclaims, "I knew it." He gives a thumbs up, smiling broadly. "That's the spirit. I like you being so strong, Yoon-ho." His words leave Yoon-ho speechless. "I knew this was going to happen. They feel a little awkward for letting me go, but they're always like that." The balding team leader chuckles and waves his hand. "You'll do well wherever you go." Well," he continues rambling, "even if your body is a little, well, you're still young and full of potential." Even though Yoon-ho doesn't reply, he keeps talking, fueled by the concern and unease of the surrounding co-workers. "You've been working hard all this time." Finally, the team leader proposes, "All right, let's go for lunch to cheer you up, Yoon-ho." He still doesn't respond. The team leader asks again, "How about crab blood soup?" But now, only the words a little echo in Yoon-ho's mind. A colleague hesitantly speaks up, Team leader, that place is about a 10-minute walk." The team leader doesn't get it and asks, "Huh?" Everyone will think the same way. At this point, the same colleague says, "Don't you think it's a bit inconvenient for Yoon-ho? Because I'm..." As everyone discusses, Yoon-ho pushes himself up and says, "I'll eat separately. Enjoy your meal." He clutches his pants, unable to walk 10 minutes for lunch. His coworkers look at him with concern. "Are you really okay, Yoon-ho?" As he hugs his leg to walk, he responds, "Yes, I'm fine. Actually, I have another appointment." The cripple, Lee Yoon-ho. And, of course, he has no appointment. Yoon-ho eats lunch alone on the crowded rooftop, thinking, "Since I'm leaving anyway, I don't need to eat while being considerate of others." With that thought, he leisurely takes a sip of his coffee. After finishing, he gazes up at the sky, as if contemplating something. "But, maybe I'll miss this place a little," he wonders, looking at the rooftop scenery. At his feet is a withered tree, signifying the end of life. "I was once very fast and free. The most promising prospect in Korean track and field. That was me. But that didn't last long. A minor car accident before the practical exam. That turned me into someone everyone understands. I still want to. Even just once would be enough. I want to run until my heart feels like it's going to burst. But," he thought numbly, "unless I can live again." Just as Yoon-ho is lost in thought, a beautiful woman named Kim Ji-yoon appears. "What are you thinking about so deeply?" Yoon-ho is startled and greets her. "Oh, Ji-yoon, when did you get here?" Ji-yoon replies, "I just got here." This person is Kim Ji-yoon, a contract worker who started as a secretary a week after him. Ji-yoon asks again, "What were you thinking about?" Yoon-ho hesitates. He looks up at the sky and tells her, "I was wondering where I'll work next." Ji-yoon laughs, waving her hand. "What are you talking about? Are you about to get fired? Why are you thinking about that?" Unexpectedly, Yoon-ho isn't joking. He calmly replies, "That's right." This answer freezes Ji-yoon. Yoon-ho takes another sip of his coffee and says, "Actually, I got fired today. Or should I say, restructured." The more Yoon-ho talks, the more Ji-yoon seems to turn to stone and crack. Yoon-ho continues with the same tone, as if he's telling a normal, insignificant story. "Anyway, that's how it is." It's at this point he notices Ji-yoon next to him. She's looking at him with sympathy and sadness. She looks down and says, "I'm so sorry." Yoon-ho is confused. Why? Ji-yoon honestly says, I didn't know. Now Yoon-ho is the one consoling her. It's okay. It's not your fault, Ji-yoon. Ji-yoon asks, when will you quit? Yoon-ho is unsure. I think they'll call me separately to tell me later. Suddenly, a mechanical voice echoes in Yoon-ho's head. Leave. The decision of this planet has been made. Ji-yoon hears this announcement as well. Yoon-ho, confused, asks, announcement? She replies, it's more like an echo in my head than an announcement. The mechanical voice speaks again. The mission will begin shortly. Yoon-ho is puzzled. You heard that too, right, Ji-yoon? Ji-yoon looks around as if searching for the source of the sound. Yes, I heard it too. Both of them look around, and everyone starts to murmur. What was that? I don't have headphones on. The building manager's announcement? What were they saying? Ji-yoon concludes, it seems like everyone heard that sound. The announcement appears once more. We are announcing it again. This planet has been sold. Yoon-ho is shocked. What? The announcement continues, therefore, restructuring will be implemented. Yoon-ho contemplates. This is absurd. Just then, Manager Choy appears. Hey, Ji-yoon. Ji-yoon, hearing the call, turns around. Ah, Manager Choy. This is undoubtedly the powerful Manager Choy from Ji-yoon's department, her colleague. Manager Choy frowns. What are you still doing here? How much time is left for lunch break? The announcement still echoes. The mission will begin shortly. Ji-yoon, distracted by it, hesitates. But the announcement, Manager Choy dismisses it. Oh my god, are you bothered by that nonsense? He berates her. With that attitude, do you think you'll become a full-time employee? Hurry up if you don't want to be late. This hits a nerve for Yoon-ho, who freezes in place. Yoon-ho suddenly interrupts Manager Choy's words. It's still okay now. Manager Choy raises an eyebrow. Confused? What? Not intimidated by his authority, Yoon-ho explains, there are still 15 minutes left for lunch break. Going down won't take much time, so if we stay a little longer, we won't be late. It's only now that Manager Choy notices him. You're that trainee from the next department. That's you, right? Looking at his disabled leg, Manager Choy speaks bluntly. You cripple. Seeing this, Ji-yoon tries to mediate. Manager, please. But Manager Choy doesn't care. He continues to provoke. I heard you got fired this time. TSK TSK. It was inevitable. Ji-yoon is startled and looks at Yoon-ho to see if he's alright. Manager Choy continues to make cutting remarks. If you have shortcomings, you should live more diligently. This time, Yoon-ho remains silent, not responding. His expression is blank, as if Manager Choy's words have no effect on him. Just then, the announcement sounds again. The first mission begins. Yoon-ho suddenly opens his eyes wide in shock. A green beam of light appears in the middle of the rooftop. A mechanical voice announces, please enter the designated area within the time limit. All individuals who fail to do so will be subject to restructuring. The beam acts like a net with a limited area, and some people are already inside. A countdown begins with 1 minute left. Commencing countdown. Manager Choy observes the area and says, I wonder what they're planning, but it looks quite impressive. Ji-yoon's colleague calmly surmises, it seems like a gaming event organized by a company in the building. Manager Choy says, I told you, nowadays there's a lot of crazy stuff like that. He shows a lack of interest while telling his subordinates, let's go down. While Yoon-ho is still thinking about it, a gaming event? It feels different, a suspicious feeling growing inside him. Manager Choy and Ji-yoon's colleague pass him by, and Manager Choy speaks up, oh my, oh dear, in a way that confuses both Yoon-ho and Ji-yoon. He pats his right thigh and pretends to ask, should I go see an orthopedist? Ji-yoon's colleague snickers, why don't you try physical therapy? Seeing this, Ji-yoon is flustered and worried about Yoon-ho's feelings, but he is just idly thinking, is he imitating me? He imitates like a monkey. Ji-yoon notices him not saying anything and quickly calls, Yoon-ho. Yoon-ho turns, yes? Ji-yoon bows, I'm so sorry. It's all because of me. Yoon-ho says calmly, it's okay. I'm used to this. Ji-yoon doesn't know how to respond and forces a laugh, haha. It doesn't look okay at all. As the people around them panic about the giant net, Ji-yoon asks Yoon-ho, so, what should we do now? Yoon-ho replies, well, if that's the case, let's at least go see what's happening. At this time, the countdown has 10 seconds left. 9 seconds. The two of them gradually approach the net. Ji-yoon says in awe, I don't know what this is, but it's well done. Is this a hologram? Yoon-ho, unsure, replies, I'm not sure, I've never seen anything like this before. Time left, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Ji-yoon asks, Yoon-ho, if you quit, what do you plan on doing? Yoon-ho laughs, that's a good question. I guess I'll go hunting again. 6 seconds, 5 seconds left. Ji-yoon's colleague turns the door handle upon at 4 seconds. He panics, huh? The door won't open. Manager Choy, upon hearing this, tilts his head, puzzled. What do you mean? Suddenly, 2 seconds left. 1 second left. At this moment, Ji-yoon and Yoon-ho step inside the designated area as well. Yoon-ho steps inside at the same time as the clock hits 0. A loud noise erupts. Yoon-ho opens his eyes wide, his face pale. He quickly turns to look around. A perplexed expression comes over him. In his mind, Yoon-ho wonders, what was that feeling? Ji-yoon notices his behavior and calls out to him, Yoon-ho? At this moment, the people outside suddenly feel a tremor. It's as if an invisible force is pressing down on them. Everyone asks each other in confusion, what is it? What the hell is going on? The people inside the safe zone begin to discuss among themselves, what's happening? What's wrong with them? The mechanical voice echoes again. Time is up. Suddenly, Yoon-ho senses something. The notification turns red, like a warning, commencing restructuring of the human resources. Instantly, those outside the designated area are hit by an unknown force, Manager Choy and Ji-yoon's colleague included. They are torn into pieces. They scream in agony. Before disappearing completely, they let out one loud scream that reverberated through the area. Ji-yoon is horrified by this, covering her mouth with a trembling hand. Yoon-ho! What is this? Yoon-ho is just as confused. Yes. His eyes widen. Those outside of the area are being torn apart and disappearing. A notification appears, first mission complete. MS Tower, 184 individuals have been restructured. That day, everything we knew crumbled. The announcement continues, survivors, 1,796. Then, a table appears before Yoon-ho. System display, please choose a mission reward. Yoon-ho thinks in shock, this is... Before him appears his own status. Name, Lee Yoon-ho, affiliation, District 13, Rock-seo, Zone 107, MS Tower, rank, restructuring target, stats, health, 12, strength, 11, intelligence, 10, judgment, 15, agility, 1, vitality, 31, traits, unlocked, skills, unlocked. Yoon-ho wonders, a status window, health, strength, all of my physical information, it's all quantified. I choose a reward from this? With this thought, Yoon-ho raises his hand. He hesitantly touches the leg area in the drawing. Can I choose the leg? The system announces, starting mission reward distribution. Immediately, a force acts on his disabled leg. Yoon-ho is surprised by the sensation in his leg. The system informs him, reward distribution successful. 20% recovery of gait. He is shocked. What? Recovery? At this moment, Ji-yoon beside him points at the table in front of him. Yoon-ho, you see it too, right? Yoon-ho responds, yes. Thank goodness, at least I'm not the only one who sees it. Ji-yoon, bewildered, says, what the heck is going on? On Earth or what? Yoon-ho feels the same. I'm not sure but, he said. It said that was the first mission. There might be other missions to come. And it seems like if we fail, we would disappear like those people. Ji-yoon becomes even more scared. She stutters, who is behind all of this? Yoon-ho says uncertainly, I don't know. But I'm sure we'll soon get a new message. The system is quick to display a new announcement. The second mission will begin soon. Yoon-ho frowns, just as I thought. The safe zone will be randomly regenerated after the mission begins. Beginning countdown. A clock starts counting down from 5 minutes. In front of everyone, their own status windows appear. Ji-yoon asks, trembling, what do we do? Yoon-ho says quickly, we have to move fast. The second mission might be more difficult. Ji-yoon asks in a panic, what? Why? Yoon-ho explains seriously, they clearly said it's restructuring. If that's the plan, they will only want to keep the most valuable people. If I'm right, the competition will be even more fierce than the first mission. Ji-yoon is worried. Then what? Yoon-ho looks at the others on the rooftop. There might even be fights between people. Ji-yoon stammers, this. Yoon-ho deduces, of course there has to be fights. Especially if you saw with your own eyes how those people were deleted and disappeared. If not for that reason, then at least to get the mission reward. He stomps his disabled leg on the ground. A different sensation immediately travels through his leg. He thinks in surprise, it feels lighter already. Even with just 20%, my gait has changed significantly. With that thought, he clenches his lips. Ji-yoon, he calls out. Yes, Ji-yoon responds immediately. Right. Yoon-ho adjusts his clothing and tells Ji-yoon, we have to move too. One way or another. Anyway, it is my fate to be restructured. We don't know what's going to happen. But what if I can change my fate? This idiotic restructuring? After throwing his employee ID card away, Yoon-ho says, let's start looking for something we can use as a weapon. At all costs, I will survive. After forcefully throwing his employee ID card, Yoon-ho declared, "Let's start looking for something useful to use as a weapon." Ji-yoon hesitated. "A weapon? Here? There aren't any weapons." She then asked Yoon-ho if he had any ideas. Yoon-ho knew, of course. It's not easy to find a weapon in an office. He turned his head to say to her, "I don't know either, but if we find any later, we should each keep one." Ji-yoon's expression became flustered. "I have to have one too?" Yoon-ho replied matter-of-factly, "Of course. You have to protect yourself." Ji-yoon was saddened by his cold attitude but said nothing. Yoon-ho began to give instructions. "In the next 5 minutes, we will stay on this rooftop, but if the safe zone is not here, we will run down the stairs immediately." Ji-yoon was confused. The stairs? Wouldn't it be better to use the elevator? The countdown had begun. 4 minutes 59 seconds left. Yoon-ho calmly explained, "But the stairs are safer. What if the elevator gets stuck or someone wants to sabotage it?" Ji-yoon hesitated. "But, Yoon-ho," she worriedly asked, "are you sure you can use the stairs?" At this point, Yoon-ho looked down at his leg. It's not good. Each step he took was painfully slow, and even small movements were enough to tear his body apart. But, remembering the status window and the message, 20% recovery of mobility, Yoon-ho thought, "If I can heal this crippled leg." Yoon-ho answered Ji-yoon, "It's okay." He stepped forward confidently, "I can handle it. Even if this leg breaks in two, I will do it." The street was still bustling with activity. A mechanical announcement sounded, "The mission begins. Please evacuate to the safe zone within the allotted time." The countdown began with 9 minutes and 59 seconds. Ji-yoon looked at her screen in panic and called out, "Yoon-ho, this is..." A map of the building was displayed on the information screen, showing her current location and the safe zones on each floor, marked in green. Yoon-ho looked at his own information screen. The green areas seemed to be the safe zones. Ji-yoon quickly realized, so it's the 19th, 11th, and 3rd floors. Yoon-ho rejoiced, "Great, the areas are well distributed. Let's go to the closest one, the 19th floor." On the 19th floor, there were already several people standing inside the safe zone. The two of them hurried to the stairs. Ji-yoon noticed that Yoon-ho was falling behind and was worried. "Yoon-ho, are you okay?" Yoon-ho, panting, responded, "I'm fine." Ji-yoon completely disbelieved him. "You look far from fine. You're sweating buckets." She asked with concern, "We still have time. Do you want to rest for a bit?" Yoon-ho insisted, "I'm really okay. It's nothing." He wiped the sweat from his forehead, thinking, "It's a little tiring, but compared to the drills I used to do, this is nothing. I'm so happy. I can finally feel my toes again. Just one reward has already fixed so much. What about later?" Just then, they saw the door to the 19th floor. Ji-yoon exclaimed, "19th floor. We've arrived. If I can be completely healed here?" The two of them entered. He looked around and said, "It's so empty." Ji-yoon agreed, "It is, right?" She asked, worried, "Where did everyone go?" Yoon-ho guessed, "They must be." The sensor door in front of them slowly began to open. Both of them looked at the people before them. Yoon-ho continued, running towards the safe zone. People quickly entered the area. There were sounds of arguing. "Hey, you dog, how dare you cut in line?" The other person retorted, "What the hell are you barking about?" The two of them started to physically fight each other. "Don't push me anymore." Seeing them arguing, Ji-yoon said, "As expected, things here are really chaotic." Yoon-ho was calmer than her. "Actually, it's quieter than I thought." Ji-yoon worriedly said, "But what if we can't get in?" Yoon-ho was silent for a moment before replying, "That won't happen. There are around 50 to 60 people here, but the safe zone seems large enough to hold over 100. Ji-yoon was surprised. "Over 100 people?" She asked Yoon-ho, "How do you know that?" Yoon-ho explained, "I counted the number of steps." "Huh? One step of mine is about 30 centimeters, so one person can fit in each step. The safe zone is 16 steps wide and 7 steps long, around that. If you multiply them, it can hold about 112 people, so that's enough." Ji-yoon was amazed. "Wow, Yoon-ho, when did you start counting your steps?" Yoon-ho replied casually, "It's a habit. When I was a track athlete, I used to calculate distances, but after the accident, everything got worse." She praised him, "That's amazing. It's like you have a superpower." Yoon-ho wasn't arrogant. He reminded her, "Let's go inside first." Ji-yoon replied, "Yes." Yoon-ho warned her, "Be careful. We don't know what the others will do if they can't get in." The time remaining was 51 seconds. The announcement sounded, 50 seconds remaining. People started pushing each other. "Stop pushing. Move over a little. Get out of the way. There's still room here." Ji-yoon and Yoon-ho were squeezed together. Ji-yoon said, "It's good that we decided to come in early." Yoon-ho reminded her cautiously, "Yeah, but be careful." Ji-yoon said with difficulty, "Don't worry, I know." Just then, a loud voice called out, "Please let me in." A man from the outside tried to squeeze in. Please move over a little, there's still room. Ji-yoon recognized him and said, shocked, what? Section chief? At that moment, he also saw her inside. He pointed at her, Ji-yoon. Ji-yoon, right? Help me, pull me in. Ji-yoon wanted to help. Wait a moment. But Yoon-ho put his hand out to stop her. He said, don't risk it. If you help, you might get pushed out. Ji-yoon hesitated. But, the announcement called out, 5 seconds remaining. The clock counted down the last few seconds. 5. The section chief cried out, please help me. 4 seconds. Ji-yoon jumped out, startling Yoon-ho. He yelled, Ji-yoon. Time left. 3 seconds. 2 seconds remaining. Ji-yoon yelled, wait. I'm sorry. 1 second left. Yoon-ho yelled, section chief. The screen showed that the time was up. Ji-yoon had managed to grab the section chief's hand. An announcement sounded, the allotted time is up. Those outside of the safe zone will be eliminated. The section chief panicked. I'm not dead yet. Pull me in, Ji-yoon. She hurriedly replied, yes. She took a stance and counted, 1. But at that moment, the part of the section chief's body outside the safe zone began to fragment. Ji-yoon, not knowing what was happening, closed her eyes tightly and pulled him in. 3. The two of them lost balance and fell down. Ji-yoon said lightly, ouch, that hurt. Section chief, you are lighter than I thought. I'm so glad you were. As she spoke, she opened her eyes. But the scene before her left her speechless. The section chief had been cut in half. She was terrified and unable to speak. Ji-yoon covered her head and screamed, ah. Yoon-ho pushed his way through the crowd. Excuse me, let me through. Ji-yoon. Ji-yoon was still trembling and blaming herself. If I had pulled him in a little faster. Yoon-ho sat down and asked her, Ji-yoon, are you okay? Forget about it. The information panel appeared again. Second mission complete. 1,073 individuals eliminated from MS Tower. Yoon-ho, upon hearing that, was shocked. He said through gritted teeth, 1,073 people? That's too many. The system display showed, survivors, 723. At that moment, the blood of the section chief was spreading to Ji-yoon's feet. Yoon-ho, seeing that she wasn't reacting, asked, Ji-yoon, can you hear me? I know this is a bit overwhelming, but now is not the time. The next mission is starting soon. Please receive your reward and calm down. Ji-yoon, still in shock, stuttered, my body. Section chief, my body. Yoon-ho cursed inwardly. Damn it, she is completely broken down. If her mental state is like this. He stopped abruptly. Wait a moment. He opened his information panel. Mission reward. Would this work? Yoon-ho worried. I don't know if it will boost her mental state. Please let it be effective. The system displayed a question. Do you wish to boost mental strength? Yes. He quickly pressed cancel to close the information panel and shouted, Ji-yoon. Yoon-ho said hesitantly, can you hear me? I need your help with something. He stared directly at her and said, just one thing. Please repeat what I say. Ji-yoon agreed. Okay. Yoon-ho read slowly. Mission reward. Ji-yoon repeated. Mission reward. Ji-yoon's system appeared. Please select your reward. Yoon-ho said again. Boost mental strength. Ji-yoon hesitated. Then repeated. Boost mental strength. Immediately, an announcement sounded. Mental strength boosted. Ji-yoon's eyes widened. A surge of power coursed through her, making her wince as if in pain. Yoon-ho called out worriedly. Ji-yoon. Did it fail? He frowned, thinking, I don't know what terrible things will happen next. If it doesn't work, should I bring her with me? Just then, Ji-yoon suddenly stood up, startling him. Yoon-ho hastily asked, Ji-yoon? Ji-yoon said, Yoon-ho, wait. She held up her bloody and torn sock, continuing, let me take off this sock first. It's successful. Yoon-ho said in his mind, this system is truly amazing. I never thought it could be so powerful. I bet everyone else is thinking the same thing. He looked around, and people were excitedly asking each other, what should I upgrade? Or maybe increase stamina? Physical strength seems important too. So far, I've received 2 rewards. Yoon-ho called out, status window. I need to gather as much information as possible. He asked, is there any reward that's a get-out-of-death-free card? The system answered, there is no such option. What about a gun or other weapons? It gave the same reply, there is no such option. Yoon-ho had to laugh. Okay, let's see who wins. He thought to himself, I'll show it the perseverance I've cultivated all this time with this crippled leg. Yoon-ho continued to ask, what about precognition or the ability to fly? This time the system seemed to be out of ideas. But surprisingly, it responded, it cannot be selected at this stage. Yoon-ho was shocked. What? He asked quickly. This stage? What do you mean? Will there be other stages after completing a mission? But the system replied, unable to answer. Yoon-ho understood. Of course. That's enough for now. Whoever is running this crazy game won't be content with something as simple as claiming territory. He selected the leg on the status window. First, let's heal this leg. The system informed him. Reward accepted. Mobility restored by 70%. Yoon-ho tried stepping on it, thinking to himself, although I can't sprint yet, I can at least run normally. Ji-yoon, seeing this, was shocked. Yoon-ho, your leg. You healed it with a reward? Yoon-ho laughed. It's not completely healed, but I'll probably be fine in another round. At this time, the system announced, the mission begins. The safe zone has appeared. Yoon-ho looked up. Looks like we don't have time to talk about this, right? Ji-yoon checked her status window. The closest safe zone is the conference room on the 15th floor. Yoon-ho urged, then let's go. Most people are probably already there. Ji-yoon asked, oh Yoon-ho, can I ask you something? Yoon-ho, walking ahead, responded, of course, ask me while we go down. As the two walked, Ji-yoon said, when the section chief's body was split in half earlier, you didn't seem surprised at all. Most people, like me, would have panicked. How are you able to stay so calm? Yoon-ho replied calmly, oh, now that you mention it, you're right. If I had to give a reason, it's probably because I went through rigorous training as a track athlete. But mainly, it's because I witnessed my parents die in a car accident when I was a child. These words surprised Ji-yoon. She said sadly, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked such questions. But Yoon-ho simply said, it's okay. Is it because my leg has been healed more than halfway? He opened the emergency exit door. Those who are alive must continue to live. And so will I. Ji-yoon hesitated. Then let's survive together. Upon hearing that, Yoon-ho smiled, wondering to himself, is it possible that after 2 missions, I've started to develop feelings for her? He didn't answer her, but ran forward. Let's go quickly. My steps feel lighter when I'm with her. And then, in the 3rd safe zone, we witnessed a murder for the first time. Quac Dong-sok, brandishing a club, yelled, if you think you're tough, come in here. And it was here that we faced something. The two quickly made their way down the stairs. Ji-yoon asked, Yoon-ho? Yoon-ho replied, yes, what is it? Ji-yoon wondered, what if there's no room left? Yoon-ho, panting, said, let's see. Hopefully that's not the case, but, if it's full, then I guess we'll have to fight each other to get a spot. Just as he thought, when they arrived, there was already someone waiting with a club. Quac. He swung the club around, scaring the people nearby, who yelled and quickly dodged him. Quac continuously swung the club, preventing people from approaching. You bastards, get out of here. I said, all of you get out. Yoon-ho, seeing this situation, thought, I guess this was going to happen sooner or later. But Ji-yoon was also surprised. She said, echoing his thoughts, I didn't think it would happen before all the spots were filled. At that moment, an annoyed man spoke up. Hey, you jerk. There's still plenty of space inside. What's wrong with you? Another person joined in. That's right. We can all fit in there. Why is someone being so selfish? Quac responded with a sinister tone. Oh, you dead dogs. Look who's calling who's selfish, he shouted. You guys are more selfish than anyone. You shitheads. The people, intimidated by him, quickly told each other, don't provoke him. Quac said with a furious tone, you always look down on us contract workers, forcing us to leave. You dogs. You don't know how miserable my life has been because of you, he continued. Okay, damn it, if you can do it, do it. Don't order me around in this situation, Quac shouted. Am I right or not, you bastards? Yoon-ho cautiously looked at him and asked Ji-yoon, that guy, he's from the operations support department, right? Ji-yoon replied, yes. Assistant manager Quac Dong-sok. She explained, he joined the company 2 years ago to replace manager On. He seems like he was going to be terminated like us when his contract ended. Yoon-ho thought to himself, so, he's like me. Assistant manager Quac Dong-sok, operations support team. I think I've seen him a few times, a big guy, but always working hunched over under pressure. Everyone said he was particularly sensitive and easily hurt. I guess that's why. Just then, Director O spoke up, scolding, hey, Assistant Manager Quac, what the hell do you think you're doing? Yoon-ho looked at him, wondering, who is that? Probably Quac's supervisor. Director O continued to rant, how dare you talk to me like that? Director O from the operations support department, poked Quac Dong-sok with a back scratcher. I took you in and looked after you, you ungrateful bastard. Dong-sok pursed his lips. He swung his club directly at him. Fresh blood immediately flowed from his head. Dong-sok said blankly, took me in? That's a joke. Do you think I'm your pet or something? Director O was knocked to the ground in shock. Someone screamed in terror. Ah, they were all in shock. He really killed him. People panicked, he actually killed someone. Ji-yoon was also worried. This is too much. All of them. Ji-yoon said sadly. He was ready to exploit and throw him away. And he couldn't contain his anger anymore. So this happened. But Yoon-ho said, I don't think it's just a momentary emotion. She was surprised. What? It can't just be a momentary emotion. His pupils are darting around. He's even breathing heavily. And his hands are shaking. He's not a violent person. But shards of pottery can inflict harm, and potted plants can be used as weapons. With preparations to this extent, he must have been thinking about it for a long time. Since when his boss threw a paper on his face and said, "Do it again, you idiot. You write these crap and still want to be paid? Where did all of your experience go? About how to kill? Humph. Eating like a pig just to grow your limbs." The people in the office. Dong-sok yelled at the people outside. You all saw it, right? Don't even think about coming in here. If anyone gets close, I will kill them first. People began to retreat in fear. I'll go to another floor. Another person quickly said, crap, we're running out of time. Ji-yoon worriedly asked Yoon-ho, what should we do? He's completely lost it. I don't think we can do anything to him. Yoon-ho frowned, not replying. No, he thought as he walked towards Dong-sok. Ji-yoon was shocked. Yoon-ho. He's very agitated right now. This is a good opportunity. If I can calm him down, we could talk for a bit. And most importantly, Ji-yoon, seeing him walk determinedly in that direction, called out, Yoon-ho. At this time, the time remaining was 4 minutes and 59 seconds. Dong-sok, seeing him in front of him, was surprised. What? We don't have much time. Yoon-ho said calmly, hello, Quac. Let's talk for a bit. I'm a contract worker, like you. Dong-sok was shocked. What? Yoon-ho continued, what you're doing now is only digging your own grave. He advised, just think slowly. Everyone from different companies in this building is on a mission. They might have teamed up to survive. And they will of course maintain their alliance to fight the surrounding people. But, what about you, Quac? These words made Dong-sok worry. Yoon-ho said frankly, a colleague who killed someone. You are both dangerous and the least suitable person to be on a team. He looked around and said bluntly, you are seen as the most dangerous person to be eliminated in order to survive. He turned to Dong-sok and said, that's what you get. Considering the competitive nature of these missions, going solo might be a good choice. But if we think that the next stages might be a different type of mission, then establishing an alliance first is actually wise. He looked at Director O lying dead on the ground. Luckily, it's not too late. You're not the only one who has a grudge against Director O. If you stop now, people will understand. Everyone seems to agree that Director O was very harsh to us, I guess. Finally, Yoon-ho asked, what are you going to do? Yoon-ho was asking, will you kill us all, eliminating any possibility of becoming an ally? Let's see how he reacts. Dong-sok didn't say anything, just looked at Yoon-ho. Suddenly, he reached out. People were surprised to see him bending down, as if he was trying to pick up a potted plant. Potted plant? Ji-yoon was worried. Yoon-ho. Be careful. Instantly, a potted plant was thrown and smashed into someone's face. Yoon-ho managed to dodge it, so someone next to him took the hit. Dong-sok said maliciously, what are you saying, you bastard? You inferior person? How dare you teach me a lesson? Do I look like I'm in the same league as you? Yoon-ho had a narrow escape, thinking to himself, that was close. If I hadn't calculated the distance beforehand, I would have taken that hit. Damn it, we're running out of time. At that moment, his status window suddenly appeared. Notification, data needs to be measured to unlock skills. Status window. He wondered, what's this? I've never seen this before. Unlock skills, data. What does that mean? Suddenly a loud voice interrupted his train of thought. Yoon-ho. Watch out. Yoon-ho panicked. Crap. It's too late. Dong-sok swung his club towards his head. Just before that jagged club hit his face, someone quickly pulled him backward, dodging the fatal blow. He asked, are you okay? Yoon-ho replied, yes. I'm still alive thanks to you. Thank you. Who is this? The other person said, I'm glad you're okay. I've never seen you before. He said, I'll support you, so let's get out of here now. Yoon-ho was doubtful. Support? That's done and done. Yoon-ho said, thank you again. He asked, your name is Jae-hyuk, right? Jae-hyuk replied, no, it's Choy Jae-hyuk. I work at the Hondo Comprehensive Training Center on the 17th floor. He laughed and explained, well, I'm going to a lower floor now. I hope both of you survive to the end. But Yoon-ho said, it's too late. Choy Jae-hyuk asked, what do you mean? Yoon-ho explained, we've missed the golden opportunity to move to another safe zone. We can't rule out the possibility that a similar situation will occur down there. Jae-hyuk's expression turned sad. I see. Yoon-ho asked again, you were in the military before, right? Jae-hyuk was surprised. How do you know everything? Ji-yoon thought, The way he talks is just like in the military. At that moment, Jae-hyuk also honestly replied, yes, I was discharged last year as a sergeant. Yoon-ho glanced at Ji-yoon as if to gauge her reaction, then said, if it's okay, why don't you join us? Jae-hyuk was surprised, huh? Ji-yoon asked, do you have a plan, Yoon-ho? He explained, we need to block all his attacks when we advance. We need something like a shield. Ji-yoon was confused. What is there in the office we can use as a shield? Yoon-ho came up with an idea. He said, Ji-yoon, Jae-hyuk, watch out here for a moment. Ji-yoon was surprised. Yoon-ho, you mean? Jae-hyuk turned his head in the direction that they were looking at. Huh? All three looked at the display screen, with 1 minute and 44 seconds left. Yoon-ho said, let's try to get through this. At this moment, Dong-sok was still holding the club, blocking people from entering. Some people were annoyed. Are you really not going to let us in? Are you going to kill us all? You crazy bastard? A weak voice called out, Quac. The tearful employee said, Can you let me in? I don't want to die like this, please. I'm begging you. Dong-sok asked bluntly, then what are you going to do for me? This question made the girl freeze. What? He frowned, as if he had lost all patience. I'm saying, what will you do for me if I save you? You're not going to try to cling to your life with something trivial, are you? While the girl was still hesitant, suddenly a cart came rushing toward them. Both of them looked in that direction, not understanding what was happening. Dong-sok said, what's that? It turned out that Ji-yoon and Jae-hyuk were pushing the cart closer, with Yoon-ho behind them, holding a mop. He spoke up, as I said, we only have one chance here. When I give the first signal, use the board as a shield and advance. When I give the second signal, flip the board over and push it into the aisle. Even if the board breaks during the attack, don't panic and continue pushing. He gripped the mop handle tightly in his hand. I will provide support. If everyone understands, the countdown is at 16 seconds. 15 seconds left. Yoon-ho shouted, advance. Jae-hyuk and Ji-yoon tried their best to push the cart. People around were confused. What's that? What are they doing? Dong-sok, seeing the cart approaching, panicked. He closed his eyes, wildly swung the club around and shouted, you bastard. Ji-yoon immediately flipped the shield. Flip it. Yoon-ho also quickly said, quick. Jae-hyuk quickly responded, okay. Dong-sok was surprised when his attack was blocked by the shield. He cursed, you dogs. Dong-sok pulled a utility knife from his pocket. How dare you come in here? Fresh blood immediately gushed out. Yoon-ho was stunned. His eyes widened, his face horrified. Jae-hyuk. Jae-hyuk cried out in pain. Ah. Dong-sok, enraged, shouted, you bastards. He pulled a utility knife from his pocket. How dare you barge in here? Fresh blood splattered before Yoon-ho. His eyes widened in shock. Jae-hyuk was surprised to be stabbed. Dong-sok cursed, you son of a bitch. At this moment, Jae-hyuk gritted his teeth in pain. Ugh, ah. He clutched his wound and slumped down, yelling in agony. Ah. Yoon-ho and Ji-yoon rushed over. Jae-hyuk. Dong-sok, confused, blurted out, what the hell are you doing? Yoon-ho lifted his leg and kicked Dong-sok directly in the face. Dong-sok barely managed to use both hands to block the kick. He said, with a dark expression, ha, damn it, that's ridiculous. You think a kick from a cripple like you can push me back? Yoon-ho replied, no. At that moment, Dong-sok's eyes widened as he looked to the side. Yoon-ho swung the mop, hitting Dong-sok directly in the face. I know it can't. Yoon-ho's blow knocked Dong-sok backward. He quickly told the other two, Ji-yoon, quickly get Jae-hyuk inside. Ji-yoon responded, okay, but will you be alright here alone? Yoon-ho urged, I'm fine, go ahead. He turned to look at Dong-sok. You bastard. Dong-sok struggled to get up. How dare you? A cripple like you dares to. Yoon-ho's expression became serious. Dong-sok, furious, asked, a piece of trash like you dares to look down on me? He yelled as he charged at Yoon-ho. All living beings share the same emotions. Be it humans or monsters, when consumed by rage, they lose their reason. They use their entire body to express their anger, and then they target their prey like a bull charging at a matador in an arena. Yoon-ho retreated silently, step by step. Just as Dong-sok charged at him, Yoon-ho quickly dodged to the side. Dong-sok, losing his momentum, charged out of the door. Realizing Yoon-ho's plan, he cursed, you motherfucker. Dong-sok fell to the ground outside. Ji-yoon anxiously asked Yoon-ho, Yoon-ho, are you okay? At that moment, the system announced, time is up. A new announcement appeared. Restructuring begins. Those outside were immediately torn into pieces, cursing continuously, you damn dog. If it weren't for you, everyone would have survived. No, I don't want to die. You deserve to be shot, you selfish bastard. The curses didn't stop. You killed everyone. Dong-sok muttered in fear. No. His eyes were bloodshot. How? How did I survive until now? Seeing Ji-yoon and Yoon-ho inside the safe zone, this can't be happening. At the last moment of his life, he screamed, "No way, you bastard." Yoon-ho and Ji-yoon silently watched everyone disappear. Ji-yoon stuttered, We did it?" Yoon-ho also said, "It's over." An announcement appeared, "Mission complete. Please select a mission reward." Yoon-ho selected, "Increase leg strength." The second time has recovered 70%. With this speed, the third time will definitely, just as he thought, the system announced, "Reward distribution complete." It is definite. Notification, recovery rate reaches 100%. 100% recovery. Yoon-ho said nothing. Finally, a feeling of ease without stopping. He thought, trembling, "It really worked. My legs are starting to move again as I want them to." Ji-yoon's voice shattered his train of thought. Yoon-ho, your legs, are they healed?" Yoon-ho smiled and replied, "Yes, that's right. They've recovered." Ji-yoon said with a happy face, "Oh my god, congratulations." Yoon-ho said happily, "Thank you. You helped me a lot too, Ji-yoon." His polite tone made Ji-yoon blush. "I didn't do anything. I feel like I was a burden to you. I'm very sorry." "Yeah, this is enough to make me happy too," Ji-yoon said in admiration. "I'm really happy for you." Yoon-ho thought to himself, "I've only reached a normal level, while others become superhumans through augmentation instead of simple recovery." Suddenly, a groan was heard behind them. It was at this moment that everyone noticed Jae-hyuk lying there. "Jae-hyuk, are you okay?" He suddenly said, "I'm so happy I was with you two." Ji-yoon was confused. "Huh?" Jae-hyuk continued. "I think this is the end for me. Please, send my last words to my mother." Yoon-ho said nothing. While Jae-hyuk was still teary-eyed, "Mom," Yoon-ho suddenly said, "I don't think you need to worry about that, Jae-hyuk." Jae-hyuk was still dazed. "Did I hear that wrong?" Yoon-ho explained, "The wound isn't that deep. The bleeding has stopped too. I think you can deliver the message to your mother yourself." Upon hearing this, Jae-hyuk immediately sat up. "What?" Yoon-ho replied, "I'm saying you can get up now." He was speechless, unsure what to say. Then, he sat up and said, "Oh, that's miraculous. I was just struggling with this wound a moment ago." Did you pass the mission? You can use the reward to recover." Yoon-ho thought, he seems a bit timid. Yoon-ho spoke up. "Jae-hyuk, you haven't received the reward for the previous mission, right?" Jae-hyuk was clueless. I haven't." Yoon-ho suggested, "If you're still worried about the wound, I think you should use it to boost your recovery." Jae-hyuk was confused. Recovery? Yoon-ho explained, "That way, you won't need to use rewards to heal minor wounds anymore." Ji-yoon exclaimed, "Oh, I didn't think of that at all." Yoon-ho replied, "That's right, boost recovery according to the standard." Jae-hyuk looked at him excitedly, with sparkling eyes. "That's so smart. How did you come up with that idea, big brother Yoon-ho?" Yoon-ho thought, "Big brother, he asked Jae-hyuk, "If you don't mind, Jae-hyuk, how old are you?" Jae-hyuk replied, I'm 25. Unbelievable." Yoon-ho was confused. "Oh really? I'm 28. So it's right for you to call me brother." Ji-yoon's eyes widened in shock. "No way, you're only 1 year younger than me?" she thought, with that look. "I thought he was in his mid-30s. Jae-hyuk, hearing what she said in awe, "Oh, so you are my elder sister." He said happily, "Brother, sister, I was able to get here thanks to you two. Thank you so much." Ji-yoon blushed and waved her hand. "It was nothing." Yoon-ho also said, "Not really. If it wasn't for you, Jae-hyuk." He was speaking then had to stop. "Huh? What is it?" Jae-hyuk gave a friendly thumbs up and said, "Please, just call me Jae-hyuki, brother." Yoon-ho thought, "It'll take some time to get used to this." He asked excitedly, "What should I do to prepare for the next mission?" Yoon-ho replied, "Wait for the next mission's instructions. Everyone make sure to receive your rewards first. We're on the 15th floor, right in the middle of the building, which is convenient for moving around. And most importantly, we need to gather as much information as possible while we have the time, about the true nature of the unactivated skills." A notification appeared, measuring data to unlock skill, 12%. At this moment, in the empty office, Jae-hyuk took off his shirt. Ji-yoon exclaimed, "Wow, you've recovered almost perfectly." Jae-hyuk exclaimed, "Really? It's miraculous. I think boosting your recovery will help you heal better," Ji-yoon guessed. Jae-hyuk said happily, "That's perfect. I don't even have any scars. I don't even remember where I was hurt." Jae-hyuk wondered, but why did Yoon-ho act like that? Ji-yoon didn't have an answer. I'm not sure either. He said there was something that needed to be checked immediately. At that moment, Yoon-ho was still thinking to himself, I've been running around here without stopping, and I've come to a conclusion. Notification. Measuring data to unlock skill, 87%. Of course, it's clear that physical stats play a very important role. To help my body adjust to the newly healed legs, I've been running around the office for a while. I can see that the data measurement speed increases in proportion to my legs' recovery. And I realized. Yoon-ho suddenly saw the system's message. Notification regarding the objective. Lee Yoon-ho's strong desire has accelerated the data measurement speed. In fact, the psychological factors are also very influential. Yoon-ho looked down at the system panel, analyzing in his head, I guess that when it reaches 100%, the new skill will be unlocked. I wonder what kind of skill has been prepared. If this is a game, I'd choose an attack skill to take down as many opponents as possible. Just then, the system delivered a new announcement. All survivors, please take notice. The final mission will begin at 3 o'clock. All three of them focused intently on listening to it. Once again, we are notifying you at 3 o'clock. Ji-yoon, hearing it, teared up. Wait, did I hear that wrong? Jae-hyuk said happily, I heard it too. They definitely said the final, it's finally ending. Yoon-ho wondered, the final? Not quite, the system clearly mentioned the next stage. And if they planned for everything to end like this, they wouldn't give us any rewards or skills. Ji-yoon and Jae-hyuk were still happy. She said to him, let's wait at the stairs, Yoon-ho. Jae-hyuk clenched his fist, it's the last round, I'll do my best. Yoon-ho put his jacket on. He speculated, everyone will definitely become more aggressive in the next stages. This is the real deal. He suddenly noticed something on the desk in the office. Jae-hyuk spoke up. What should we do now, brother? He observed the situation and assessed, with the current situation in the safe zone, it seems impossible to break through directly. Yoon-ho thought, Jae-hyuk is right, a direct breakthrough is completely impossible. We don't know what rewards those who are fighting have received, so we need to be careful. We have to find another way. Suddenly, an idea came to him. He said to the other two, Ji-yoon, Jae-hyuk. They both responded, yes, brother. Ah, yes, brother. Yoon-ho pointed in one direction and asked, do you two see that temporary wall behind the crowd? Jae-hyuk replied, yes, I see it. Yoon-ho immediately said, all right, we'll go there. Jae-hyuk worriedly asked Ji-yoon, but can we get in there without getting hurt? She encouraged him, we can do it. Let's just go for it. Yoon-ho called out, there's no time left. Move quickly. The three of them gathered together, with Yoon-ho now holding a ladder. Jae-hyuk was shocked. What? Where are you planning to climb? Yoon-ho calmly replied, up to the top of the monitor. Ji-yoon asked, you mean climb up onto that platform? Jae-hyuk wondered, what do you plan to do once you're up there? Yoon-ho replied immediately, I'm going to make the monitor fall. He explained his plan, if it falls forward, it'll fall directly into the safe zone. The people inside will be trapped, but they won't die. Ji-yoon understood and clapped, ah. So, we can avoid fighting, right? He replied, that's right, though that's probably not what the system wants. Jae-hyuk admired, wow, you're truly amazing. He then asked, but how did you know there was a ladder here? Yoon-ho simply said, experience. The company I used to work for also had exhibition spaces, and they were always set up like this. He lifted the ladder up. Okay then. Yoon-ho told the two, climb up quickly before it's too late. Jae-hyuk assessed the surroundings. Looking out from here, the design is really shoddy. Why did they install it like this? Yoon-ho calmly directed, Jae-hyuk, go over to that wall. He approached it, and Yoon-ho instructed, everyone, listen carefully. It's now 33 seconds. When we fall, immediately jump out of the way. Countdown 32 seconds. He closed his eyes and focused. All right, then. 31 seconds left. 30 seconds left. Jae-hyuk opened his eyes, focused, and shouted, let's go. Director Park, who was still pushing his way through the crowd, looked behind him. Why is it so dark? They all saw the screen gradually falling. What the hell is that? Everyone was panicking and urging each other. Get out of the way. Go somewhere else. You bastard. The screen crashed down. Jae-hyuk said happily, we did it, Yoon-ho. He shouted, move as close to the center of the safe zone as possible. He also jumped to the ground, thinking, we need to secure our positions before the others stabilize. He ran inside and thought, of course, I calculated the timing perfectly, so we don't need to push ourselves too much. But we must be prepared, just in case. At that moment, he noticed something else. There was a scream. Ah. Ji-yoon was grabbed by the arm by a director. Director Park, what are you doing? He was yelling, Secretary Kim, what the hell are you doing? Ji-yoon, your mission is to serve me, right? And now you're trying to save yourself alone? Damn it. She got caught. Yoon-ho ran out without thinking. Jae-hyuk called out, brother. Director Park's leg was bleeding. He said, acting like a victim, you caused this screen to fall, right? It's your fault I got hurt. What about my leg? Director Park held tightly onto Ji-yoon's hand. You can't go in there alone. Either drag me in with you, or we'll die here together. Ji-yoon forcefully shook his hand off. Let me go. Director Park was surprised. What? Ji-yoon rushed into the safe zone. There's no time left. I need to get to the center like Yoon-ho said. Suddenly, she was pulled backward. She yelled in pain. Ah! Director Park grabbed her hair. Where do you think you're going, you bitch? Ji-yoon, in pain, begged him. Hurt, please, stop, Director. At that moment, Yoon-ho pulled a pair of scissors from the back of his pants. Director Park cursed. You dare to abandon the person you should be protecting when they are in danger. Director Park continued. I'll tear your head apart. Then suddenly, Yoon-ho rushed in and used the scissors to cut Ji-yoon's hair. Director Park held a lock of hair in his hand, confused. What the hell? Ji-yoon was also surprised. That is, she looked at Yoon-ho's hand. She wondered. Scissors? Yoon-ho thought, I knew it was the right decision to keep them. While walking past the office desk, he had noticed them. We need a weapon. Or at least something that can be used as a weapon. A utility knife is too thin and limited in its use, while scissors are not dangerous unless they are open. Therefore, I created my own weapon. Yoon-ho looked at the remaining half of the scissors in his hand, assessing, it seems like I can stab with this, I can even cut with it. He went down on his knee. He kicked the director hard in his stomach. He was knocked away. At this moment, the system announced that time was up. Director Park was horrified upon hearing it. He quickly stood up, trying to run into the safe zone. But the red notification appeared. The restructuring process will begin now. Director Park was panting. Ha, this, you damn bastards. He looked at Yoon-ho and Ji-yoon inside the safe zone. Suddenly, Jae-hyuk clutched his head and yelled, Sister, making Ji-yoon jump. He said, trembling, I'm sorry for yelling, but sister, your hair. Ji-yoon touched her short hair and said, oh no. At that moment, Yoon-ho also turned with a worried look. I almost forgot. I cut a girl's hair without her permission. No, I didn't trim it. It was more like I sheared it off. Though it was unavoidable, I still feel awkward. Is she angry? Seeing Ji-yoon suddenly approach him, Yoon-ho said nervously, yes, what is it? I should apologize, right? Ji-yoon suddenly said, please, help me with one thing. Yoon-ho felt guilty. What is it? Ji-yoon shook out her hair. She smiled and said to Yoon-ho, help me cut it shorter. So this won't happen again. Yoon-ho was surprised and asked, what? Are you okay? Ji-yoon replied, I'm okay. Besides, short hair suits me better, doesn't it? Yoon-ho thought. She's smiling. He smiled and lifted his scissors. These aren't scissors anymore, so it'll be difficult. Ji-yoon was surprised. Huh? What happened to it? Since when did her mental strength increase so much? Jae-hyuk excitedly said, I'll go look for some new scissors, so don't worry. Yoon-ho reminded them, alright, but, people under the screen are still trapped, right? There were voices calling for help. Ouch, my back. Ji-yoon noticed how Yoon-ho was talking. Yoon-ho, you're talking casually now. While they were talking, a notification appeared. 16 survivors in MS Tower. Jae-hyuk said excitedly, you two have worked hard again. We're able to survive thanks to you. Yoon-ho remained humble. No, you're the one who worked harder. Suddenly, the system announced, the tutorial is over, freezing Yoon-ho in place. The system continued. The tutorial completion reward will be distributed now. The people underneath the screen were confused. A tutorial? The system reported, synchronization rate has slightly increased. People began to murmur, but they said this was the final mission. Are you guys kidding me? Who came up with this idea? Jae-hyuk was also confused. Brother, what is that? Ji-yoon worriedly asked. Yoon-ho, what's going on? Yoon-ho thought, I knew it, this could not be the end. They looked at the chaotic scene before them. The system announced, by administrator authority, the project is activated. Notification, project name, selection. Upon hearing the word selection, people immediately started murmuring, selection? Does that mean, are they going to filter us again? Yoon-ho thought, selection at this stage? Until now, everything was just a tutorial. The restructuring is only now officially beginning. People began to murmur, what the hell is going on? At that moment, a young girl with 2 pink pigtails appeared before everyone. Seeing a young girl like that appear there, people said, a little girl? What is this? The young girl, floating in the air, gently smoothed her hair and said, 16 people, huh? Why are so many people still here? A man next to her spoke up, 10 or 11 years old? At most, she looks like a middle school student. Hearing this, Yoon-ho said, the age we see probably means nothing. There is no need for introductions or explanations. I can tell that she is an administrator. The mysterious girl suddenly looked around and exclaimed, oh, what's this? Knocking over the monitor and climbing up there? At this moment, a haughty man below called out, "Hey, you, who are you? Why did you suddenly appear here?" The girl quickly moved in front of him, calmly saying, "Harona. Anyway, who came up with the idea of pushing the monitor down? That was clever." Yoon-ho looked at Harona and thought, that girl just moved next to him in the blink of an eye. Could I also be able to do something like that if I receive rewards? Then, Jae-hyuk came next to Yoon-ho and whispered, "Brother, that girl seems to be looking for you." Yoon-ho immediately brushed off his words, "Let's just observe. It looks like she's not here to praise us." Suddenly, Yoon-ho turned around. Behind him, a woman spoke, "What happened earlier? I think that might be me." The woman next to her quickly reprimanded her, "Hey, you. Why did you step forward without knowing why you were called?" An older man beside them added, "Oh, my God, it's always like this." But the woman simply calmly replied, "I just thought she might give me something." Always acting like she has responsibility while being incapable of anything. Harona then smiled lightly. She flew in front of you and said haughtily, "Hey, was it you?" You, seeing that scary gaze, became frightened. It wasn't really me." Harona, hearing that, quickly asked, "Not you? Then why did you step forward?" You began to stammer. Well, everyone could feel it. The cold atmosphere that surrounded each word she spoke, the fear from the coldness. Harona sighed and said softly, Never mind." A terrifying pressure radiated from her small body. Before anyone knew it, she was right in front of Yu's face, pointing her finger at her and then swiping it across. What? In an instant, Yu was cut in half. Blood spurted out everywhere. Everyone, seeing that, recoiled in fear. Yu's limbs were all severed and strewn across the floor. The girl who had just advised Yu and the older man were also horrified at the sight before her. Then she screamed, "Ah!" But Harona's expression remained indifferent, as if nothing had happened. "Let's see, I need to identify my targets first." Yoon-ho, Ji-yoon, and Jae-hyuk were all shocked by her inhumane action. He gritted his teeth, hearing Harona's cruel words, "Since I just eliminated one person, that leaves 15, right?" She said, "Eliminated someone?" Harona continued, "The company requires interviewing each person individually, but I really don't want to. Killing people seems that trivial to her." Then suddenly he thought, wait, she just said company? Does the company need to identify targets? I will ask you all at once. Answer correctly. Yoon-ho wondered what she was trying to find out. After speaking for a while, Harona waved her hand and asked, "Okay, among you, who is an athlete? Raise your hand." But no one raised their hand. Harona, cruelly, continued, "No one? What about performing artists, singers, actors?" Ji-yoon quietly asked Jae-hyuk, "Why is she looking for those kinds of people in an IT business area?" Jae-hyuk quietly replied, "After what just happened, who would dare step forward?" Harona kept interrogating the people below. "Anyone with global achievements, great people who have created wonderful works?" She continued to ask but received no answer. Harona finally gave up, asking one last question. "Okay, one last question. But, this time a man raised his hand and said, 'Does YouTuber count?'" Upon hearing that, Harona's eyes widened as she looked at him. Then, she asked, quietly and confused, "What is that?" Never mind. If you say anything else stupid, I'll rip your mouth open. Got it?" He was terrified at the threat. At this moment, Harona continued, "Well, I didn't think there would be anyone. So, I'll just clean up and proceed quickly. The floor is flat and perfect." Upon hearing that, Yoon-ho felt confused. "The floor?" Harona, pointing, said, Right. The tutorial rewards will be distributed all at once. They are customized for each person, but that's too much of a hassle, so I'll choose randomly. So, no questions, right?" As she said that, she snapped her fingers and disappeared. The woman next to her said with frustration, "She didn't give anyone time to think before disappearing." Project selection. First mission activated. By administrator rights, the arena has been opened. Upon receiving the mission, everyone began to murmur, "What? There's no explanation for the mission? No time limit or safe zone? What are we supposed to do?" Yoon-ho propped his chin, thinking, as I expected, the missions have changed starting from this stage. I need to prepare as much as possible. If it's a speed battle with some strength as before, agility will be the best advantage. But this new arena has added a new variable, he said softly, mission rewards. Perhaps I should aim for something more practical. While he was still thinking, the system panel displayed a notification, tutorial completion, reward level up, mission reward, 1 point and a random box for the new mission. Rewards have changed? Suddenly, a ray of light appeared in front of him. Yoon-ho tilted his head in confusion. It really appeared. A random gift box. When I reach out to it, it wiggles back and forth, as if it could explode at any moment. He carefully reached out, wondering, what if it's a trap? Before he could touch it, two men next to him, who had just opened their boxes, suddenly exclaimed, "Wow, what? Minjung? Oh, brother, look. They found a box full of money. Amazing. Each stack has 100 bills. How much is that? At least 100 stacks, over 500 million won. Minjung, check your reward too." Hearing their excitement, Yoon-ho didn't feel happy. That's a meaningless reward. If this restructuring is happening globally, then civilization as we know it is probably gone. Of course, currency will just be a useless pile of paper. At that moment, someone else opened a box and found a luxury handbag. Oh my god, a designer bag. In the worst-case scenario, a loaf of bread could be more valuable than these things. With that thought, he touched the box. He thought, the reward needs to help me with the upcoming missions and the intense competition. Priority 1, armor. Priority 2, weapons. Some people can cleanly chop others to pieces with just one finger. Who knows how many more of those types we will encounter. I used all 3 rewards just to recover my legs. That gap must be filled with these rewards. With that, Yoon-ho gritted his teeth and prayed, "Please, give me something useful." He then touched the reward box, and it lit up. Notification: you have received a random box for a new objective. Yoon-ho was still puzzled. The system panel announced, "Congratulations. This is. You have received your reward. You have received the reward." What was the first weapon that humans ever used? It certainly wasn't guns, swords, or shields. The older security guard walked over and asked, "What is this? Can I even use this?" Yoon-ho turned his head to look but didn't reply. It was probably something much more crude and primitive, like a prehistoric axe. But this? At that moment, Jae-hyuk walked over, smiling, and said, "Brother, look, it's armor, isn't it great? So, what was in your box, brother?" Everyone else turned to look at him curiously. "What is that?" "Yeah, that is less lethal than the others." Ji-yoon and Jae-hyuk quickly approached him. "Yoon-ho, don't tell me that is what you got from the reward, a rock?" They continued to murmur. "What? A rock? Just an ordinary rock? Oh, wow. Just looking at it makes me feel my coat is far better. Maybe it is some sort of skill." But Yoon-ho tried to remain calm, closing his eyes and listening to them. "Don't worry. Who knows? Maybe it's an expensive meteorite." That would be too much. The system panel displayed a notification. The arena is being implemented. Yoon-ho quietly glanced at Ji-yoon, then spoke up. "You seem to like it, Ji-yoon." Ji-yoon was surprised. "Huh?" She looked at the small dagger in her hand. Yoon-ho continued, "I'm talking about the knife you received from the reward." Hearing that, Ji-yoon quickly replied, Yes. It feels so good in my hand. I've only held kitchen knives before." She held the knife, testing its sensitivity. Yoon-ho said, "That's good. Perhaps it will be useful in many ways." Ji-yoon said confidently, "This might be a good time to clear my head." Her words surprised Yoon-ho. "Huh, what do you mean? How much has her mental strength increased?" "Oh well, that's good." Both Jae-hyuk and Ji-yoon got something that fit them perfectly. The biggest problem is still me. "So, how should I use this?" Yoon-ho picked up the rock, poking it lightly, thinking, no matter how many times I look at it, this thing is still pathetic. Even if I threw it as a one-time attack, it wouldn't do anything. Is this really just an ordinary rock? Suddenly, the rock began to liquefy. A black liquid slowly enveloped his fingers. Yoon-ho said in surprise, "What? It's melting?" While he was contemplating it, the system panel displayed a notification, absorbing, barren stone. Instantly, the rock took over his arm, making him scream in fear. "What? What's going on? My arm feels like it's hardening from the inside." Notification, skill unlocked, petrification. A skill? Absorption insufficient, initial effect range limited. Yoon-ho kept looking at the palm of his hand. So, the rewards also include skills? This is completely different from the information I've received so far. This is clearly a completely new skill. Notification, target, Lee Yoon-ho. Notification, initial petrification range is the index finger on the right hand. At this moment, he crouched down to think, seriously? How amazing is this skill that it is being given out so sparingly? Since he was silent, Jae-hyuk asked, "Brother, Yoon-ho, what's wrong? Brother, is there something on the ground?" They kept asking him, but he remained silent. "Huh?" Then he shouted in surprise, "How did you do that? That looks like stone." Yoon-ho was using his petrification skill to pierce through the floor. Ji-yoon was surprised. "That's a skill too?" He replied, "Yes, it's a skill I received from that rock." As soon as he finished speaking, he thought, "I understand now. It increases my attack power and durability. But what can I do with only one finger?" "Wait a minute." Yoon-ho asked, "Status window, can I upgrade skills with the points I received before?" As soon as he asked, the system panel displayed a notification. Notification, Do you want to upgrade your skill with your points? I knew it. Upgrade petrification skill. Skill has been upgraded. Please select additional effect range. Without thinking for long, he immediately chose, I choose the thumb on my right hand. Choice complete. If I could only choose 2 fingers, this would be the most reasonable choice. At that moment, someone started yelling, come on, why are you always nagging? Why am I nagging? I just told you to use that money to buy a house for us. A house? I haven't even thought of getting married yet. The man was yelling at the woman. The woman yelled back, hey, is that how you talk to me? So what? You're the one who wanted my money first. Witnessing their argument, Ji-yoon said anxiously, come to think of it, aren't those 2 from our company? Yoon-ho asked curiously, they are a couple? She replied based on her speculation, maybe, but I think it's more of a secret relationship. Just then, a water bottle rolled near their feet. Noticing something was off, the 3 of them looked at each other, surprised. A water bottle? At the same time, the system panel displayed, arena setup complete. Jae-hyuk quickly called out to Yoon-ho, brother, something feels weird, right? It's like we're losing balance. It's not just a feeling. This is. Everyone started to panic. What's happening? Why is the floor like this? People screamed in terror. The ground was tilting. In that precarious moment, Yoon-ho turned and said, Jae-hyuk, hold on to that pole. Yes, brother. Huh? Brother? Ji-yoon is sliding down. Ji-yoon seemed to have lost control, sliding towards the bottom. It looked like a sea of fire. The arguing couple were also clinging to each other, screaming in fear. In an instant, like a hero rescuing a damsel, Yoon-ho quickly rushed towards Ji-yoon. He reached out his hand and yelled her name. Ji-yoon, grab my hand. Yoon-ho managed to extend his hand just as she grabbed it. Petrification. Instantly, Yoon-ho's 2 petrified fingers grabbed onto the floor, preventing them from sliding. He struggled, dragging them. Got her. Are you okay, Ji-yoon? Ji-yoon, still scared, replied, I think so. Seeing that they were safe, he breathed a sigh of relief and said, no matter what happens, don't let go of my hand. I will hold on to you as long as I can. Just then, Jae-hyuk suddenly yelled, brother, sister, look above. If we remove our fingers, we'll fall into the sea of fire, but if we stay here, that table will hit us. The only way for us to survive is. Notification. Data required to establish skill is being measured. 100% complete. Yoon-ho read the message and was surprised. A skill? At that moment, the system panel continued. Notification. The process of collecting data to activate skill has been completed. Notification. Searching for a skill that matches the target. Congratulations, based on your excellent adaptability, fierce determination, and memories ingrained in your body, a unique skill has been created. Any skill is fine as long as I can use it now. Skill unlocked. Acceleration. Suddenly, a loud scream echoed. Brother! Lee Yoon-ho, alarmed by the voice, looked up and saw a large table falling directly towards him and Ji-yoon. Lee Yoon-ho froze, his thoughts racing. What should I do? He wondered. At this rate, both Ji-yoon and I will. Suddenly, a message appeared on the system panel. Congratulations, based on your excellent adaptability, fierce determination, and memories ingrained in your body, a unique skill has been created. Skill unlocked. Acceleration LV1. Lee Yoon-ho's eyes widened, unable to believe what he just heard. Acceleration? How can increasing speed help us when we're trapped like this? He gritted his teeth, dissatisfied. Oh well, I don't have any other choice right now. Lee Yoon-ho could only shout, acceleration. The system announced, skill acceleration LV1 activated. In the chaos of everyone struggling to stay upright, Jae-hyuk was sweating profusely, helpless as time ticked by. At the 16:42 and 58 seconds mark, everyone seemed to slow down, but at 16:42 and 59 seconds, starting from 16:42, things began to change. 16:20. Kim Ji-yoon, scared, screamed, Yoon-ho, but her scream was drawn out. At that moment, Lee Yoon-ho seemed to realize something and turned to look at her. At 16:30. Finally, he noticed something odd. What is happening? In the scene where Lee Yoon-ho and Kim Ji-yoon were holding hands, the large table in midair seemed to be moving strangely. Time was slowing down? Currently, while Kim Ji-yoon was stunned, she was startled by his voice. Ji-yoon, are you okay? She looked down, softly calling his name. Yoon-ho. Lee Yoon-ho turned to look at Kim Ji-yoon. Are you hurt or feeling unwell? She also looked at him, turning her face away. No. But Kim Ji-yoon asked cautiously, Yoon-ho, how did you do that just now? Kim Ji-yoon recalled the scene. Clearly, you were holding on to me tightly, she said, remembering what happened. But then suddenly, we were no longer holding hands, you suddenly let go. And then, you just suddenly disappeared, right in front of me. Lee Yoon-ho had gently carried her, and then he suddenly appeared behind me. Kim Ji-yoon was stunned and only stared at the scene. Lee Yoon-ho quickly carried her and jumped in a zigzag pattern. What happened after that? As he listened to Ji-yoon's vivid explanation, he was puzzled. A normal person could not have done that. The system displayed, Skill Acceleration LV1 deactivated. Kim Ji-yoon was surprised. How were you able to move so fast? Lee Yoon-ho, without hiding anything, pressed lightly on the system panel. To be honest, I don't know either. It was a newly unlocked skill and I used it right away. I have to figure it out, she exclaimed in surprise. Huh? Kim Ji-yoon asked again. You have gained enough experience to unlock a skill? Lee Yoon-ho did not reply directly, but thought to himself, of course. Acceleration LV1 temporarily increases the user's speed, lasting from 1 second to 5 seconds. He said to himself, this is truly a breakthrough skill. He tapped on the system panel. For me, others seem to be moving 5 times slower than normal. Cooldown timer, 102. And of course, it has a cooldown. Lee Yoon-ho paused, and his eyes widened as he looked ahead. 5 seconds? But if that number in parenthesis increases with each upgrade, if it becomes 10 seconds, 50 seconds, or even 100 seconds, then I will almost have the ability to stop time. A drop of sweat rolled down his temple. Ji-yoon looked to his side. Yoon-ho? Yoon-ho was startled. Huh? Ji-yoon said. The floor has returned to normal, she continued. Though, it's still a little unstable. Yeah, it feels like we're floating on water. Or maybe, we're just suspended in the air. Yoon-ho listened to her and thought, now that I think about it, it feels like it's tilting in a different direction this time. At that moment, Jae-hyuk rushed over. Sister, brother, are you both okay? I'm so glad you're safe. As soon as Yoon-ho saw him, he asked, you did a great job staying upright over there. Ji-yoon sighed. I feel like I just aged 10 years. Not wanting Ji-yoon to blame herself, he said, me too. I'm relieved that it's... Suddenly, huh? The floor is tilting again. Jae-hyuk, sweating profusely, said in shock, what's happening? Isn't it over? Why did it tilt again after I moved? Brother, is this? Lee Yoon-ho finally realized, now I understand. This is what the arena means. A tilted structure. If you don't maintain your balance, it will be like a scale. He remembered Harona as a child, lying in a pool of blood, muttering, I think it's going to be fine. Let's proceed quickly. Lee Yoon-ho calmly considered the problem. To whoever set this up, the people here are nothing but superfluous entities. Someone said, luckily the floor is still flat. They intend to eliminate all of us here. A man in a black coat yelled, it's tilting again. Hold on to something. Hurry. Jae-hyuk, run to the back to restore the balance. Once you see it's stable, stay still. Jae-hyuk, determined, yelled back as he ran, okay, brother. Looking at Ji-yoon, Lee Yoon-ho reminded her, Ji-yoon, stay close to the wall, okay? Looking around, Lee Yoon-ho thought, good, the balance is stabilizing. Almost, if the cooldown didn't reset in time, that would have been dangerous. Fortunately, Jae-hyuk assessed the situation quickly. Suddenly, Jae-hyuk yelled worriedly, brother, the balance is restored, we just need to stay still. Before Lee Yoon-ho could reply, Jae-hyuk suddenly yelled in surprise, ha, look out. They looked over and were surprised. Jae-hyuk shouted, hey, don't move suddenly like that. The man ignored him and walked away mumbling, damn it, disappear already. He angrily ran off, making Jae-hyuk shout in frustration, the floor is tilting again. He thought in frustration, damn it, you idiots. Who knows how long we'll have to endure this? Do they want me to stay still? He looked at the elevator ahead and told himself, I'll get out of here. But why is the entrance always so high? The floor suddenly tilted downwards, and he muttered in shock, what the hell? Soon, he fell into the abyss, yelling loudly. The man clinging to the wall anxiously said, wait, if it tilts this way. Jae-hyuk looked at the urgent situation around him, feeling worried. He gritted his teeth and thought, damn it, what should I do? At this rate, everyone will fall. Lee Yoon-ho approached him and gently touched his shoulder. Jump. The system appeared. Activate skill. Acceleration when entering an area temporarily increases the user's speed from 1 second to 5 seconds. Lee Yoon-ho said calmly, don't think about anything else. I will take care of the rest. Just think about Ji-yoon. Above them, a man analyzed the situation, seeing how everyone was in danger. He said, noticing the man on the top, not holding on to anything, what? When did he get up there? What just flew past us? This guy, he said calmly, this is an emergency. This man was Choy Sung. Arona was intently working in her room when Choy Sung walked in. Arona, sensing footsteps approaching, said, I've told you not to interrupt me while I'm working. Arona then continued, unless it's urgent. At that moment, his footsteps stopped. Choy Sung said anxiously, it's an emergency, as you said. My fault, The mission in Sector 107 is nearing completion. Arona turned to him, and Choi Sung continued. However, lately, the number of survivors is... After hesitating, Choi Sung continued. 13 people. Arona was slightly surprised at Choi Sung's words. She coldly responded, "That's not right." Arona's eyes darkened, and she said, "The mission in Sector 107 was designed to destroy everything." Choi Sung said seriously, "Wasn't there a report about a particularly cunning participant in Sector 107? Hearing him, Harona thought about the corpses piled up below. "Now that I think about it, there was one." Then Harona thought about the company's current manpower. She thought about the person who had skillfully arranged the shields, created a safe zone, and saved many lives. Arona laughed sarcastically. "So an interesting individual has appeared. I must go see for myself." She looked at Choi Sung with a complex expression, smiling, and said, "Send me some footage." Upon receiving the order, Choi Sung replied, "Understood." As he was about to leave, Harona said, "Wait." She asked him, "How many beasts are left in Sector 10? Choi Sung bowed his head calmly and replied, "There are 10 remaining, none of which have been deployed yet." Arona coldly uttered, "Deploy them all." Arona's words made Choi Sung shudder. "Harona-sama." Arona grinned maliciously, looking ferocious, emphasizing every word. "Don't you see I'm being serious? Isn't that person cunning?" Arona looked at the image of Lee Yoon-ho trying to save the man in the black coat on the screen and said, "Or are they all capable fighters?" Down below, Lee Yoon-ho was trying to pull the man out of the fire. The man yelled in fury, "What? What is this?" He looked at Lee Yoon-ho pulling him. "Why am I suddenly here? What happened?" Lee Yoon-ho turned around, annoyed, and yelled for Ji-yoon and Jae-hyuk, who looked at him in shock. "Don't move." To everyone in a panic, Lee Yoon-ho yelled, "If you don't want to die, stay still, all of you." Lee Yoon-ho looked at everyone worriedly, thinking, "I don't want to reveal my skill, but there's no time to persuade them. But my calculations were spot on. My guesses were right. Let's go quickly." The fire was spreading everywhere. The guard with the shield said in surprise, The ground is returning to normal." The woman there yelled, "The fire is dying down." The fire at the elevator entrance slowly died down. The system displayed a notification, "First mission complete." The music arena was slowly stabilizing. The system displayed a notification, "Arena has been deactivated." Lee Yoon-ho sat on the ground, panting, It's over." Jae-hyuk yelled worriedly, "Brother, are you okay?" Ji-yoon, seeing that, yelled and asked him, "Yoon-ho, what were you doing all this time?" Lee Yoon-ho smiled and thought, "Anyway, we survived." Everyone surrounded him, asking questions. The guard looked at him and asked, "How is that possible?" The woman said worriedly, "I thought we were going to be burned to death." The man with glasses, seeing that, curiously asked, "Seriously though, how are you able to move so fast? That's not humanly possible." Seeing everyone staring at him, he said nervously, I didn't mean to pry or anything." Lee Yoon-ho remained silent, pondering, "Should I reveal my skills?" Suddenly, the ceiling started shaking. Everyone screamed in panic, "What was that?" "Not again." Everyone below looked up at the ceiling, shocked. "The ceiling is starting to crack." Everyone ran in terror. "What is it this time?" At that moment, the system announced, "By administrator authority," someone yelled, "It's collapsing." Notification, "The ceiling is cracking further." The system announced, "Footage has been activated." It was becoming heavier. Everyone was shaking. The system displayed, "Notification, new mission has appeared." Lee Yoon-ho shuddered and thought, "A mission, again?" Lee Yoon-ho sat helplessly on the floor, wondering, "This is too absurd." Everyone covered their ears and yelled, "Ah!" Suddenly, Jae-hyuk noticed something. The system displayed, "Notification, defeat the Hawkbirds." The Hawkbirds appeared and rushed towards everyone. Ji-yoon yelled worriedly, "Jae-hyuk!" A Hawkbird was about to land on Jae-hyuk. He stood there, trembling. Lee Yoon-ho shouted, "Look out!" Lee Yoon-ho quickly flew over and grabbed his legs, looking at it in shock. The beast angrily glared at them. Squawk! When Lee Yoon-ho landed on the ground holding Jae-hyuk, the Hawkbird approached slowly. Seeing it approach, Jae-hyuk trembled and said, "Brother, run!" Lee Yoon-ho yelled in unease, "Snap out of it. There's nowhere to run." Looking at it creating chaos, he looked at them and thought, "However, it's not just one or two." Ji-yoon yelled, "Brother." He turned to look at her. She said, "Yoon-ho, can't you do what you did earlier? I think it will work." Lee Yoon-ho said, "We don't have weapons, so we can only avoid it." Ji-yoon wondered, "Weapons?" Ji-yoon stood up in front of a girl who had fallen on the ground and yelled, "Your sword." The girl was confused. "Huh?" Ji-yoon pointed at the sword on the ground. "The reward sword that you received, let me borrow it for a moment." The girl picked up the sword and said to Ji-yoon, "What will I do here without it?" Ji-yoon yelled angrily, "Didn't you see what Yoon-ho did earlier? He's the only one who can save us with a sword. Hurry up." Ji-yoon reached out her hand and pleaded, "Let me borrow it and I promise I'll return it." The girl hugged her sword tightly and cried. Ji-yoon then turned and said, "Old man, let me borrow that shield too." Upon hearing Ji-yoon's sudden order, the guard was surprised and didn't react. Suddenly, behind Lee Yoon-ho, she yelled, "Yoon-ho, turn around." Ji-yoon threw the sword and said, "Catch." The sword quickly flew towards him. He said, "Ji-yoon, thanks." At that moment, the system displayed, "Choose the reward for your own mission." Lee Yoon-ho gritted his teeth and yelled, "Upgrade acceleration skill." The system announced, "Acceleration LV1 has been upgraded to Acceleration LV2. The hawkbirds flew closer. He held his shield up to block them. Thinking, "I have time." He yelled with determination, "You beasts, come at me." As Lee Yoon-ho raised his shield, preparing to face the hawk-like monsters, he thought, "I've got time." Jae-hyuk, watching his reckless provocation, trembled. "H-young, why? Why would you provoke them like that?" Lee Yoon-ho lifted his shield higher, calculating 60 seconds for cooldown. His gaze sharpened as he analyzed the situation. 10 winged monsters. He thought, the only way to take them down is to gather them together and strike at once. The monsters, one by one, turned their attention to him, their screeches piercing the air. "Acceleration," Lee Yoon-ho commanded. A system notification appeared, using acceleration level 2. 1 second becomes 10 seconds. The monsters, driven mad, charged toward him. Lee Yoon-ho swung his sword down, slowly but powerfully, and with each swing, he sliced through a monster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The arena floor was painted with their blood, a sight that shocked Jae-hyuk. Meanwhile, in the control room, Choi Sung reported Lee Yoon-ho's information to Hirona with crisp clarity. Target, Lee Yoon-ho. Age, 29. Occupation, salaryman. He paused hesitantly. But, Hirona, scanning the monitor, saw, status, Lee Yoon-ho. Affiliation, District 13, Rock-seo Sector 107, Ko Tower. Rank, target under restructuring. Evaluation, intelligence, above average. Physical strength, below average. Charisma, generally average. Overall evaluation, mid-tier. Special notes, none. Hirona's teeth ground together as she read. "That's it? That's all they've got?" she snapped, frustration seething within her. Choi Sung stammered, It seems the investigation department hasn't done a thorough job. There are so many people." Hirona's eyes narrowed, a demonic glint in them as if she wanted to devour Choi Sung. She glared over her shoulder, "Give me something that makes sense. How can someone who displays that kind of capability be below average? Are you even serious? How can he be average even with the high standard of District 13? Choi Sung shrunk under her glare, lowering his head in apology. "I apologize." Turning back to the screen, Hirona growled, "You people at the investigation department. The way you work." She clenched her fist. "I knew it. I can't rely on any of you." The screen showed Lee Yoon-ho decimating the monsters, their carcasses strewn across the arena. Hirona was surprised. "He's broken through?" Choi Sung, watching the screen, was bewildered. By enhancing his speed, the prey lured the predators all together. He paused, pondering. But just by doing that he turned the tables so quickly. Even if he was using skills, he would have been at a disadvantage dealing with them one by one. It's like, just yesterday, he was a normal person. So, what exactly? Choi Sung's eyes widened with a realization. Could he have reversed his life's time axis? Hirona dismissed it with a chilling absurd. She leaned back, exhaustion in her voice. In the beginning, he was clumsy. Clumsy in his grip and clumsy with his swing. Choi Sung stammered. "Then how?" Hirona sighed. "One step. One swing." Then, a sinister smile touched her lips. But with each step, it changed. "His learning ability is astonishing. He's learning while fighting," Choi Sung noted, realizing, that's the most interesting part. Hirona sat back, musing. The same sort. Some use it to hunt animals for food. Some use it to break through their own barriers and command the world. She let out a wicked laugh, her gaze fixed on the screen. "Lee Yoon-ho." She snapped her fingers, a decision made. "Let's see what you're capable of. Show me." Back in the arena, Lee Yoon-ho felt dizzy, a wave of exhaustion washing over him. The system chimed in. "Mission completed. Midterm evaluation initiated. Target, Lee Yoon-ho. Status, Lee Yoon-ho. Affiliation, District 13, Rock-seo Sector 107, Ko Tower. Rank, target under restructuring. Stats, Power, 12, Intelligence, 10, agility, 10, stamina, 31, strength, 11, judgment, 15. Skill traits, not yet activated. Acceleration level 2. Petrification level 2. Adding evaluation points. Total score. Midterm evaluation result. S rank. Congratulations. Staring at the notification, Lee Yun-ho was dumbfounded. Me? An S rank? His hand shook, disbelieving it was real. Mission reward? He wondered. You have received a 1-point mission reward. Bonus reward based on rank evaluation will be added later. You have received an additional 2 points for S rank evaluation and 1,000 welfare points. The unexpected news left Lee Yun-ho speechless. Bonus reward? He thought, here, I'm being recognized? He stared at his blood-soaked hands. I don't know what's happening, but, his hands trembled as he realized, if I keep going, then, he finally grasped it. I can finally implement my plan that has been going through my head since the mission started. Suddenly, a hand wiped the blood off his face with a handkerchief. It was June. Yun-ho, she called. Lee Yun-ho turned to her, and June hesitantly asked, are you okay? She gently dabbed at the blood on his face, her voice filled with concern. I called you earlier, but you didn't answer. You're okay, right? Lee Yun-ho paused, a moment of uncertainty flashing across his face, but seeing the concern in June's eyes, he smiled brightly. Yeah. He hesitated for a moment before adding, I'm okay. Everyone in the arena watched Lee Yun-ho, astonishment and relief mixing in their hearts, glad that everyone was safe. The fierce battle had left the ground scarred with a deep crater, surrounded by rubble, wreckage, and horrifying pools of blood. The hawk-like monsters lay twisted and broken, their eyes rolled back in death, their bodies torn to pieces. June, aghast, covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes wide with fear. Noticing her distress, Yun-ho gently touched her shoulder. June. She turned. Ah. Yun-ho seizing the moment, he asked, speaking of which, did you receive an evaluation? She tilted her head. Evaluation? You mean the announcement earlier? Yeah, that one. I got an A, she replied. Yun-ho turned to Jae-hyuk, probing his results. Jae-hyuk, what about you? Jae-hyuk fidgeted, a bit embarrassed. I got a B. Everyone got ranked for some reason, Yun-ho mused, contemplating each member's score, based on their contribution to the mission. June and I seem to be on the higher end. Jae-hyuk got a mid-tier rank, which seems to be for those who performed adequately. Jae-hyuk scratched his head, looking lost. I don't really know what it means, but I think I did okay. I mean, I was just hiding behind you, yelling. Yun-ho gave a small smile. Should I console him? He thought. He looks so dejected. June seems better suited for this. He walked up to Jae-hyuk and pointed at him. Hey, Jae-hyuk, he said, a slight awkwardness in his tone. Help me with something. Jae-hyuk's eyes widened. Yes? Yun-ho gestured toward the fallen monster. Its beak snapped and broken. I need to use those. They're sharp and sturdy. I think we can turn them into weapons. Jae-hyuk blinked. Beaks as weapons? Yun-ho nodded. Yeah. Help me pull them out. Jae-hyuk is probably stronger than me, he thought. He placed a hand on Jae-hyuk's shoulder, a gesture of encouragement. I'm not strong enough, but I think you can do it. Help me, will you? Jae-hyuk was taken aback, his eyes wide and unsure. Yun-ho's hand remained firmly on his shoulder, a reassuring grip. Jae-hyuk looked down, speechless. Jae-hyuk, Yun-ho started again. Suddenly, a new light sparked in Jae-hyuk's eyes. He grabbed Yun-ho's hand and yelled enthusiastically, Yes, Captain. Whether you need 10 or 100, I'll pull them all out for you. Yun-ho chuckled, a bit startled by Jae-hyuk's sudden enthusiasm. Ah, no, 3 is enough. He's too fired up, he thought, but at least he looks better. I think he'll be fine now. He turned to June, who was stifling a giggle. And another thing. I need something that looks like a stick, he declared. A stick? Just then, a system notification flashed across their vision. Notification. Mission completed. Notification. Synchronization rate slightly increased due to mission completion. Yun-ho and June looked up, reading the message. Notification. Basic store, a portable store for beginners, has been opened. Yun-ho muttered. A store? Like a shop? Suddenly, a system window popped up before his eyes, causing him to exclaim, Whoa! What is this? Inside the window, various items and weapons were displayed. June tilted her head. It's like a game. Items, Yun-ho see. What's wrong? The others in the arena began to stir, murmuring amongst themselves. A store? Kya! One person exclaimed. What's going on? Do you see something? Wait, don't tell me. A store? Now, each of them had a system window with the store's inventory. Whoa! What is this? Hey, let me see. A store. A chipped sword. A sword with a worn and chipped blade. The blade is too damaged to cut effectively. And the durability is so low it may break at any moment, 400 welfare points. Yoon-ho examined the items curiously, scrolling through the interface. Mysterious root, armor made of tree branches. Is there anything else? Diluted recovery potion, he continued. A recovery potion made from herbs, diluted with water to increase volume. Low effect, but it can help reduce fatigue, 300 welfare points. A potion. They mostly scan the potion, just like this. A recovery potion, a short-haired girl muttered. Welfare points, the guy next to her repeated. If I remember correctly, welfare points are probably the currency of this shop. What the heck are welfare points? A youth suddenly yelled excitedly. Some of them had no points at all. I received 1,000 points. What I need right now is a weapon. But the items kept popping up on the screen one after another. A worm-eaten spear. A spear made by an amateur blacksmith. The shaft is a piece of wood riddled with worms, with a metal tip. It looks like it'll break after 1 or 2 swings. 400 welfare points. Yoon-ho's head was starting to ache. A crude wooden shield. A round shield made from roughly cut wood, with metal trim, low durability due to poor craftsmanship. There's a visible crack and it might shatter if dropped, 300 welfare points. Looking at the items displayed in the window, Yoon-ho felt a headache coming on. How are these supposed to work? Should I even buy something? June, not looking at her interface, pondered. Then tilting her head, she stated, everything I can buy with welfare points looks like trash. Jae-hyuk, beside her, agreed, that's right. Actually, I can't even afford the trash. June looked at him, surprised. How many points do you have, Jae-hyuk? He chuckled sheepishly, 200 points. How about you, Nuna? June looked down and quietly said, I have 500. Jae-hyuk was still looking at the item window. With 200 points, I can only afford a broken iron sword. Broken? Yoon-ho suddenly realized something. He exclaimed, that's it. A satisfied smile appeared on his face as he looked at the screen. I found it, he thought happily, the most useful thing in this situation. Specifically, a broken iron sword. A poorly forged iron sword that's soft and easy to break. It's made of wrought iron, more suitable for farming than fighting. The blade is broken, making it useless in combat. 200 welfare points. Something useful, specifically for me. Meanwhile, behind him, someone was creeping up, a sinister grin on his face. The man stalked towards Yoon-ho from behind. The three of them were still talking. Captain, did you find something again? Yoon-ho replied, yeah, the broken iron sword you mentioned. I'm going to buy it. June, having made up her mind, clicked to purchase the sword. Instantly, a small iron sword appeared in her palm. An iron sword? June examined it. It's about the size of this dagger, right? Are you going to use it as a throwing weapon? Yoon-ho shook his head. No, it may be similar in length, but it's much heavier. That's not my intention. June was puzzled. Why would he choose to buy a small, broken sword? Then why are you buying it? Because it's a rough sword. The blade is broken and not sharp. A poorly forged, useless sword. He added, I'm planning to use only the hilt. Jae-hyuk looked surprised. The hilt? In other words, the part where the end of the blade is enclosed for gripping. Even though they obtained the hawk's blades, they couldn't directly hold such a sharp blade with their bare hands. Yoon-ho explained his idea in detail. I was thinking of tying the blade to a stick, but if I remove the blade from the broken iron sword and attach the hawk's blade to its hilt, Jae-hyuk gasped, impressed. But suddenly, he yelled, Captain, behind you. Yoon-ho glanced back, just as the man came close, his face inches away. Hey, bro, he said. You usually fight like that, the way you swung your sword earlier. You're not ordinary. When you stabbed the sword, man, monster blood splattered everywhere. It was so cool. The man's demeanor changed from sinister to excitedly enthusiastic. Yoon-ho, not pleased by the unsolicited praise, just glared at him. I didn't even notice him approaching. Jae-hyuk, annoyed by the man's cheekiness, was about to teach him a lesson. Hey, what are you rambling on about? Yoon-ho stopped him. So, what do you want? The man grinned, his eyes turning sharp as he looked directly at Yoon-ho, raising his hands in admiration. So cool. Really? June giggled at the man's bizarre compliments. Yoon-ho, confused, just stared at him. Jae-hyuk tilted his head in bewilderment. The man placed his hand on Yoon-ho's shoulder. Dude, you took them all down by yourself, he exclaimed, getting even more worked up. What about the welfare points? You must have gotten a ton. You could buy your own weapon because of that, right? The others were giving them judgmental stares as the man continued to ramble. The crowd began to whisper about Yoon-ho. That's right, he must know something. Maybe he's in cahoots with that crazy kid from before. The crowd began to distance themselves from the three of them and the crazy man. Sensing the rising tension, June stepped in. Hey, How can you say that to someone who just risked their life fighting the monsters? Yoon-ho grew pensive. This isn't good. I was too careless. I've become more noticeable than the others. If he openly made his weapon here, it would only cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Suddenly, Jae-hyuk grabbed the man's arm and pushed him away. Hey! The man, unfazed, cursed at Jae-hyuk. What the hell? Jae-hyuk's voice grew menacing. That's enough. You're making him uncomfortable. He clenched his fists, his body trembling. The man, seeing Jae-hyuk's terrifying expression, screamed and ran away. Alright, I'm stopping. I'm done, okay? After dealing with the annoying man, Jae-hyuk turned to Yoon-ho. Captain, about those monsters. I think we've attracted too much attention. We should pack up and move somewhere else. Jae-hyuk whispered. Yoon-ho nodded in agreement. Yeah, probably should. June, overhearing their conversation, raised her hand. If we're going to move, there's something I need to check. Yoon-ho and Jae-hyuk looked at her with concern. I forgot. June has been running in heels this whole time. Jae-hyuk shuddered, his voice trembling. Nuna, are you sure bandages are enough? June smiled reassuringly. I'm okay. It's just a little sore, that's all. Yoon-ho, seeing that she looked unwell, approached her. You should have told us you were in pain. He offered her a box of bandages. June looked at him, her expression darkening. You also said that you were okay, right? She recalled when she had wiped the blood off his face earlier. She smiled and took the bandages from Yoon-ho. With that done, Jae-hyuk said cheerfully, that's it, at least our phones are still working. Thinking about it, these two must have families. June took out her phone and made a call. Yoon-ho glanced at her, his thoughts drifting. It seems she still can't contact them. I don't have anyone to contact anyway. Suddenly, June sighed. How long do you think we'll be trapped here? Jae-hyuk's voice grew whiny. I thought we'd be out of here soon, but now, I'm not even sure we can get out. This is so unsettling. From what he saw before, leaving this building seemed impossible. Just like during the Hawk mission, they couldn't escape the exhibition hall. My theory is, either that mission hasn't ended or similar crazy things are happening elsewhere. As he was deep in thought, a system message popped up. Notification. Sending survivors within the tower. The next project selection mission will start tomorrow at 9 a.m. Be prepared. A mission tomorrow? They all said in unison, that's unusual. They're actually giving us a break. Yoon-ho reassured them. Let's just relax for now. It's 6 p.m., 15 hours before the next mission starts. In a nightmare, Yoon-ho dreamt of a grotesque corpse relentlessly calling his name, Yoon-ho. He opened his eyes to see the terrifying image of the creature pressing down on him, its voice wailing, me too. Please save me. It hurts so much, it continued to cry out his name in despair. Yoon-ho, 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 still asleep, snapped awake, shaken by the horrific nightmare. He realized it was just a dream. It was a dream? Sweat drenched his body. He wearily rubbed his face. I must be too tired. Petrification. As he spoke, his hand gradually turned to stone. Acceleration. I need to hurry before those two return. Rewinding to 5 hours prior, he was in the process of purchasing the iron sword. The broken iron sword. Do you want to buy it? Without hesitation, Yoon-ho selected, yes. Transaction complete. Items can be stored in your inventory at any time. He held the sword in his hand, a satisfied smile on his face. He turned to Jae-hyuk. Jae-hyuk, could you pull the blade out for me? Jae-hyuk agreed without hesitation. Ah, let me try. Jae-hyuk began pulling on the blade, struggling with all his might. His hand trembled as Yoon-ho cautioned, be careful, I'm sorry for asking you to do so much. It's okay, Captain. I'm glad to be of help, Jae-hyuk said. I have gloves, and the blade is dull, so it should be fine. But it wasn't as easy as Jae-hyuk had anticipated. He pulled with all his strength, his face turning red, his eyes bulging. He strained with all his might and, in the end, the sword came apart. Ha ha, easy peasy, Jae-hyuk said, offering the hilt to Yoon-ho. Yoon-ho, holding the hilt, was greeted by a system notification. Reward mission. 3 petrification skill enhancement points. Petrification level 2 has been upgraded to petrification level 5. Select the expanded activation area. Right hand, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Left hand, thumb, index finger, middle finger. He immediately followed the prompt, right hand, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. The system announced, skill upgrade successful. Yoon-ho crushed the hilt, satisfied. That should do it. He smiled, watching the pieces of the hilt fall. He turned to June and Jae-hyuk. I need you two to do something for me. Please collect as many essential items as possible in this building. Check if there are any large bags we can use too. Meanwhile, I'll try making weapons with these. The two of them looked at the hawk-like monster, still in pieces on the ground. Yoon-ho frowned. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I'm almost there. My shoulder is killing me. If I just rub it like this, it'll never get sharp, he thought, applying more force to the blade. I have to try. If it's too dull, I'll never be able to cut anything. As he continued to sharpen the blade, the system appeared. Congratulations! The first achievement of making a weapon with your bare hands has been unlocked. The Human Grinding Stone title has been awarded. Reaching remarkable feats or engaging in unusual actions will be recognized and will grant suitable titles. Yoon-ho tilted his head in confusion. A human grinding stone? The system explained, human grinding stone. When sharpening a weapon with your bare hands, the speed is greatly increased. You will understand the core of weapon improvement. Yoon-ho smiled. Great, with this. Meanwhile, Jun and Jae-hyuk were searching for him, shouting his name. Yoon-ho see, Captain? Through the thick smoke, Jae-hyuk said. Is this really where we gathered before? Yes, it's exactly here. But why is there so much smoke? They continued their search. They spotted a chair that had been sliced in half. That looks like a sword slash. Jun's face paled. Worried. Could someone have attacked Yoon-ho? She yelled, Yoon-ho, answer me. Jae-hyuk also searched for him, calling, Captain, where are you? A familiar voice emerged from the smoke. Over here. A sword slash cut through the thick smoke. Yoon-ho stood there, leaning slightly, holding the sword. His action surprised both Jun and Jae-hyuk. Captain, Yoon-ho see, what happened? I was so worried. Yoon-ho smiled. You must be tired from walking around. I have a gift. He threw two swords to Jun and Jae-hyuk. Bladebeak sword, a weapon made by attaching a bladebeak's beak to a sword hilt. While the connection looks crude, the blade is sharpened to cut anything. This item cannot be sold. Jae-hyuk, amazed, exclaimed, Awesome, Captain. Did you make these? What can't you do? The blade is so sharp. I never thought it would be this good. It's lighter but also stronger than I imagined. Jun noticed a small piece of paper attached to the hilt of her sword. She smiled and said, I never thought Yoon-ho was such a great craftsman. Yoon-ho boasted, Haha, call me the human grinding stone. He clenched his fist. Jae-hyuk turned back and pointed to the half chair. Ah, Captain, did you cut the sofa with that? Without hiding anything, Yoon-ho replied, Yeah, I was just itching to try it out. With that, we can cut monsters with ease. Yoon-ho's eyes darkened. Perhaps, even humans. Ah, have you found any supplies or necessities? He asked. Ah, I found a large bag and packed everything inside. It's really big. If we put all the food from the break room in it, we can last for a week or more, Jun replied. Jae-hyuk added, It might be a little heavy, but we can carry it. I'll pack it tightly. Yoon-ho smiled at his eager teammates. All right, food will be consumed over time, and these weapons are considered items, so they'll be stored in our inventory when you call the storage function. This information surprised them both. He glanced at his watch. Let's see, it's almost 8 p.m. He urged his team. The new mission is probably starting soon. Should we pack up and head to the lobby? Yes. There you are. A man approached, shouting, Attention survivors. The next mission will start at 9 a.m. Jae-hyuk glanced at the crazy man, then folded his arms and made a scary face. The man glared back, his eyebrows furrowed. Their eyes met. Suddenly, a barrier enveloped the entire city. The barrier expanded. Survivors, please proceed to the designated area. The area will begin to shrink within 10 minutes. Please quickly move to the safe area. Jae-hyuk worriedly said, Captain, that looks like Seoul Station? Yoon-ho agreed. Yeah, it looks like it. But more importantly, look at the situation outside. He was sweating profusely, his worry growing. As expected, it seems we're not the only ones participating in these trials. Lee Yoon-ho spun around, carefully assessing the situation behind them. Everyone, we don't have time. Let's move. The teenager beside him looked startled. They quickly moved outside, emerging into a place stained with blood. Kim Jun couldn't believe her eyes. Oh my god, something terrible must have happened here too. Lee Yoon-ho, leading the way, said, Let's get to Seoul Station. But the scene was utterly ruined, with smoke and fire everywhere, collapsed buildings, and cars smashing into each other on the streets. Students were running wildly through the chaos. Suddenly, Jae-hyuk yelled, Captain, I see the safe zone over there. He squinted at the location. Huh? But it looks like someone's already there. A disheveled man with long hair was sitting there, holding an empty beer bottle. Yoon-ho evaluated the man. A homeless man. There should be more people here. Why is there only one person? Inside a towering skyscraper, seemingly untouched, a tired voice could be heard. Phew, finally made it. A father and his young daughter were walking from the front, the little girl sobbing. Daddy, I'm scared. Her tearful eyes looked in one direction. Daddy, over there. In the distance, the group of students could be seen. The two sides saw each other, with a homeless man sitting calmly between them. Yoon-ho looked ahead, calculating. We have 13 people, and they have 6. so that's 20 people in total. It's 9 a.m. Survivors at Seoul Station, attention, project selection. The next mission is a team mission requiring cooperation. The people around them were amazed by the message. Team? Does that mean we'll be working in groups? June cautiously considered. If so, the person who forms the team is very important. Around them, it felt like countless eyes were watching with apprehension. The mission board announced, it will be carried out in 3 rounds. Teams that fail to complete the goals in each round will be completely restructured. Defeat the enemies and accumulate achievements. Jae-hyuk exclaimed. Restructured? Does that mean they'll kill us all? A girl in the back chimed in. We made it this far, and now there are even more objectives. A terrified boy beside her hugged his head. No, I thought we'd be safe if we got here. Teams that fail the goal will have all members restructured. It's a life or death situation based on achievements. Starting the mission. The 4 people closest to each other will automatically be formed into a team. June glanced around. The closest person. The teams were quickly formed. The man who joined their group jumped for joy. Great. Yoon-ho and the others couldn't understand how he had gotten so close. Seriously? June gave up trying to figure it out. This system is very straightforward. Jae-hyuk asked, I don't know how to find out who the members are. There are 5 teams in total, he said. The question is, what is the goal, and how do we track the achievement? Suddenly, someone shouted, can't we change groups? He pointed at a couple and a child. This isn't fair. At least don't include kids. We're basically just a team of 3. June couldn't believe it. This damn system. So, regardless of whether it's a child or an elder, if you don't complete the mission, you're just considered expendable? A middle-aged couple had found their team as well. Our team too is a little weird. At least our team has a young woman with a sword. She seems reliable. The girl knelt on the ground, hugging her head and trembling. I'm dead. I'm really dead. Mission progress will be calculated in real time. The people were in shock as they read the message. What? It's like the school rankings, a girl said, frightened. This is so annoying. Is this really a scoring system? They held each other's hands tightly, trying to calm themselves. Yojin, I'm so scared. It's okay, just do what we did yesterday, she replied, trying to reassure her. But still, the homeless man remained composed, sitting in the same place. June's group prepared to fight. We should get ready. Summon, they shouted, and their weapons appeared in their hands. The man who just joined their group was in disbelief. What the heck? Where did those weapons come from? You just shout. He tried it himself, holding his hand forward. Summon. But something felt wrong. By the authority of the administrator, the eyeball has been activated. A red eye watched from above. The eyeball? That grotesque thing again. Damn it, here it goes again. Defeat as many opponents as possible within the time limit. Mission start. A 1-hour countdown appeared. Where are the enemies? One of them asked. Hit me, we're the only ones here. But then, they noticed something wasn't right. A bloody woman was walking towards them. Huh? The girls gasped in fear. Look over there. What the heck? June couldn't believe her eyes. Huh? That's Vice Chief Yoon. The woman opened her mouth in a distorted way. Yoon-ho asked, do you know them? June examined the situation. She looks similar but, she gasped, covering her mouth. What is happening? They were surrounded by bizarre individuals. They're wearing company ID cards. Everyone in our company, except us, is dead? They were being attacked by those grotesque creatures. Are these zombies? A nearby girl cried, ah, stay away from me. The monster opened its mouth, revealing its teeth. Ah! Jae-hyuk shouted to overcome his fear. Get lost. They tried to stay calm. The homeless man stood up, wielding a knife with skill, a confident smile on his lips. Suddenly, someone charged towards them. But the homeless man grabbed him instantly. His eyes were sharp as he demolished the zombie instantly. The people around them were in disbelief. Is that monster strength? Not just strength but no hesitation? Yoon-ho hesitated, looking at the man who was still too excited. I feel like this situation is very unstable. That man radiates danger. Yoon-ho cautiously assessed the homeless man. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. For some reason, that guy makes me feel dangerous. At that moment, countless zombies surged towards them from behind, moving at an incredible speed. The man smirked. With a single swift move, he defeated the leading wave with one lethal strike. The others screamed in fear. Yoon-ho quickly took down the zombies that were threatening his group. Yo Jinna, are you okay? Get up, he shouted to the students. You students, if you don't want to die, group together. June, this way. Yes, Captain. The others replied. June, swift and composed, charged into the fray. Yoon-ho covered their backs effectively. The students landed on the ground, demonstrating surprising skill. Yet, countless zombies were still closing in. Damn it, how are they still moving? One yelled in frustration. Yoon-ho quickly looked at the evaluation board above. Something is wrong. Contribution score round 1, no change. The homeless man continued to defeat zombies with his bare hands. Meanwhile, the man and their team trembled with fear. Are these damn zombies immortal? He was completely frozen in place. No. Some aren't standing up. There must be some mechanism. Yoon-ho gripped his weapon tightly. But I haven't figured it out yet. Think. His eyes widened. Think. Is there anything new? He yelled, acceleration. Then he jumped forward. What is it? He seemed to sense something in the air. Just as I thought. There's something here. He saw the strange sight before him. Each zombie had a silver thread attached to them. A bug? From behind the horde, thin threads were stretching out. Yoon-ho grabbed one and yanked it out. He looked at the source. A strange-looking monster. A bug? He used his sword and sliced it in half. Acceleration deactivated. The creature split open, revealing grotesque wounds. Kill, Yoon-ho said, unable to believe what he was seeing. More grotesque monsters attacked. June landed beside him, holding a baseball bat. Yoon-ho, get back! She swung at the monster. The creatures were chopped in half and fell to the ground. But then, they rose again. They stomped on the creatures to destroy them. System notification. Parasite Division. Jae-hyuk asked, Captain, are you okay? You must be shocked. They looked down at the pool of blood. Where did those bugs come from? Yoon-ho finally realized. That's it. They're the source of the zombies. They burrowed inside and are controlling the bodies. Round 1. The evaluation board finally changed. What did you do? The people yelled. Everyone. Pull out the silver thread from the zombies' necks. Yoon-ho shouted, those bugs are what we need to kill. Crush or chop them. The others looked at him with surprise. Now it truly begins. They pulled out the bugs and crushed them underfoot. Everyone did their best, overcoming their fear. Is this the last one? June reported, we've reached the target. The notification showed they had eliminated 100 of them. Yoon-ho was still worried. Our team is done. But how much time is left? Another message appeared. Round 1 will end in 3 minutes. Team 2 was in panic. What do we do? The time is running out. There's one. Here, step on this one. The father and his children were desperate. Don't move. The father was afraid but still trying to complete his task. It's okay, son. If this continues, we'll die. Let the child down. The little girl was crying, tears streaming down her face. Yoon-ho couldn't stand still. With a cold expression, he activated his power. Damn it. Acceleration. He rushed forward. This is hell. He crushed countless monsters, this game, and this force system. He grabbed the bugs and approached the father and child. Father, the bug? The child warned. Under the father's feet, swarms of bugs appeared. Just step on them. They'll die. Yoon-ho called out. June. Yes? Can you help Team 3 like I did? Jae-hyuk. Help Team 2. Yes. What about me? You go take care of the child. They had quickly divided the tasks among themselves. Mission will end in 1 minute. If what you want is for us to compete and kill each other, then I will do the opposite and help everyone. Acceleration. He delivered a powerful punch. This dogshit game. I'll make you beg me to end this. June was getting ready to fight as well. The homeless man saw the scene. A fire igniting in his eyes. You bastards. June, wielding her weapon, effortlessly defeated countless zombies. But the man behind her suddenly sensed something amiss. He grabbed the girl beside him, his hand crushing her arm. You damn bitch. The girl cried out in pain. He brutally struck her. His large hand gripped her tiny frame. You disrespectful little brat, he yelled. Why do you keep glaring at me? Do you think I'm an easy target? What are you doing? He was suddenly struck hard in the back. He turned around to see the girl with the baseball bat, tears streaming down her face. What are you doing? We're on the same team. The man threw her aside. You brat. He ignored her fear and continued, no, stay away from me. Suddenly, an announcement stopped him in his tracks. Mission complete notification. Mission complete notification. Results of round 1 have been calculated. Notification. Round 1 restructuring target. None. The people around them cried out in joy. We did it. The man muttered. Not yet. Not yet. The father hugged his daughter with tears in his eyes. We're alive. Jae-hyuk smiled. Captain. You saved everyone. We did it together. But then, he suddenly noticed something was wrong. He focused on the man in the back. Why is he looking at his teammates like that? It's like he's about to kill them. Suddenly, the zombies returned. Hey, what is this? How are the zombies so fast? Yoon-ho yelled, everyone, don't let your guard down. Damn it, they're not giving us a single break. The system announced, round 2 has started, but they were confident they could overcome it too. Yoon-ho was shocked. Everyone? Because they were keeping up with the pace, they're all gaining points. The middle-aged couple were happy. We'll be fine, all thanks to that kid. Something strange happened. What's that? When they looked back, they saw someone's arm was on fire. The homeless man looked at his flaming hand. Fire? The old man yelled. Hey, your hand is on fire. It's hot. The man smiled sinisterly. Then he laughed maniacally. Perfect. I knew it. I'm the chosen one. Yoon-ho was surprised. Is that? The man lifted his hand, a massive fire blazing without causing him pain. A skill? Suddenly, someone lunged at him, but the man spun around with ease and touched the zombie's head. He unleashed a burst of power, instantly incinerating all the zombies nearby. Yoon-ho could see everything. That's a powerful skill. It's a unique skill, just like mine? His burning desire and a skill unlocked by a memory attached to his body. If it's pyrokinesis, things just got dangerous. The system started the countdown. Notification. 10-second countdown until the end of round 2. The man lunged at the girl they were with. Hey, you little brat. She couldn't fight back, his grip squeezing her throat. Gawk. The man was brutal. Why are you looking at me like that, so young? Her teammates yelled. What the hell are you doing? Let her go. She couldn't understand why this was happening. Gawk. Why are you doing this? He gritted his teeth. Why are you looking at me like that? Do you think I'm useless? He set her body on fire and she cried in agony. So young. He threw her flaming body towards the zombies. Now what will you do? She was sent hurtling into the distance. Her teammates were in shock. Everything had happened too fast. The system announced, notification. Round 2 complete. Round 2 restructuring target, Team 3. Team 3 vanished, but we killed all the zombies. There are none left. Is it really us? It's that maniac who killed everything. The restructuring process is beginning. They vanished. You damn murderer. Please, no. Before disappearing, they cursed. I curse you. The man laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha. He seemed satisfied, his laugh terrifying. The others were speechless, unable to process what they'd just witnessed. Yoon-ho couldn't understand it. A double kill. Did he do that for the contribution points, or did he just want to kill? Whatever the reason, I can't ignore this. The man continued to laugh maniacally. A double kill? PFFT. The others were stunned, unable to react. Yoon-ho just stared, his eyes fixed on the scene. The girl from Team 3 was broken, collapsing to her knees. What did I do? She couldn't believe it, tears of despair pouring down her face. This can't be real. This can't be. She walked towards the charred corpse. Please, answer me, Kim So-young. A large bag landed near them. Yoon-ho, breaking the silence, asked, Can I have your attention? We need to prepare. The system announced, Attention, survivors of Seoul Station. A special reward will be given to the best performing team in this round. Everyone was astonished. A special reward? What? They didn't say anything before. June was worried. A surprise reward. If this continues, the gap between teams will grow even bigger. Her eyes turned cold as she pondered the situation. Moreover, she glanced at the man. The winner of this round is, Round 2's top performing team is Team 5. A special reward of 2 points has been awarded. In Round 3, a reward of 3 points will be awarded. Prove your superior ability by eliminating the enemy. The man rejoiced, feeling his power increase. Skill upgrade. All points have been added to skill upgrades. Jae-hyuk noticed the change. Isn't the temperature even higher? June exclaimed. The size is bigger too. Yoon-ho, trying to stay calm, said, Don't worry, just stick to the plan. Everyone, take your positions. He pulled out several spray bottles. Round 3 has started. Defeat the enemy and capture the objective within the time limit. Countless zombies were surging towards them. They held their weapons, charging forward. They moved swiftly, relying on their experience. They continued to detach the bugs and destroy them. Yoon-ho threw the bug towards the girl. June sliced through it instantly. The bugs were cut into pieces. The threads are all cut. The young man took out the spray bottle and lighter. All right, it's my turn. He unleashed a large burst of fire, incinerating the monsters. 4-segmented thread bug eliminated. 4-segmented thread bug eliminated. Round progress significantly changed. Yoon-ho smiled. It's done. This was the essence of labor division within the system. They worked together harmoniously to defeat the enemy. The progress bar filled up quickly. The key is to kill the 4-segmented thread bugs by cutting them. Killing it when it's whole gives 5 points, and cutting into 4 gives 8 points. They kept defeating the zombies as quickly as they could. A man, nearing exhaustion, yelled, You'll stay beside Dad, okay? But the little girl had vanished. He cried in panic. Yul, where are you? The young man took on the task of watching the kids. Hey, I'll look after the kid. Go kill the bugs. He caught the spray bottle and lighter. Thanks. Jae-hyuk asked. Captain, how did you figure that out? Yoon-ho explained what he observed. Remember the scoring in round 1? Our team had exactly 101 points. When we kill a bug, we cut it in half and crush it. In round 2, I experimented and found out cutting it into 4 gives extra points. The homeless man stared at the evaluation board. Correct. Yoon-ho really is something. He muttered, I'm chosen. I'm the chosen one. So why am I not at the top? He looked at them with a terrifying expression. Yoon-ho finally realized. That guy, could he be? 2 large flames appeared in his hands. He lowered his head and screamed, You bastards! He gleefully unleashed his fire. I'll kill them all. He charged towards them. The flames grew hotter and more violent. Die. Suddenly, someone lunged forward. It was the girl who was with So Young. She raised a bottle, intending to strike. Die, you bastard. But the bottle was instantly consumed by the flames. She stood frozen in place, completely shocked. The man looked at her with a terrifying grin. You brat, wanna join your friend? I'll help you. The flames on his hand grew, ready to strike. Yoon-ho yelled, Acceleration. A powerful burst of speed erupted. Everyone was confused as he moved. He was in front of her in a flash. He shielded the girl. Yoon-ho. I have a plan, a vision that can maximize our chances of winning. But, the others were shocked. Captain. One of his shoulders was burned. June rushed to him. Yoon-ho. She used her coat to protect him. Do you have any mission rewards left? Quickly heal yourself, or else. The young girl looked at the scene in shock. She started to cry. Wait, I'll heal you. So, please, take down that killer. June was surprised. Heal? With what ability? The girl, with a determined expression, yelled, You can kill him, right? Yoon-ho saw the determination in her eyes. This kid, she's serious. He agreed to her request. All right, I'm counting on you. Suddenly, a light appeared in the girl's hand, growing larger. A powerful force emanated from it. A small notification appeared. Notification. Thanks to healer Yunsora, your wounds are healing. Notification. Burn wound recovery rate 10%. Notification. 30%. Notification. 50%. Jae-hyuk rushed to them. Captain, 90%. But the wound was gone. No, what? The wound? The girl, on the verge of collapsing, said, Ha! I'm at my limit. My skill level is too low. Yoon-ho stood up, gently patting her head. It's okay. This is enough. He gave her a reassuring smile. You can heal me later, right? She nodded. Yes. He stood and looked at the man. Hey, you're left-handed, right? The man was confused. Huh? Yoon-ho analyzed him calmly. Your skill. You only use your left hand. The man's eyes widened in shock. Yoon-ho said coldly, Petrification. His hand turned to stone. The plan is simple. He looked ahead, his fist clenched. Pour all the bonus points from the 3 missions into my right hand. The man shouted, I got you. He grabbed Yoon-ho's arm. Yoon-ho used his strength to twist it away, a smug smile on his lips. Acceleration, he said. Slow down. Can that arm still use your skill? I thought the world had abandoned me. The man gritted his teeth, anger twisting his face. You damn bastards, burn in hell. So, I burned everything down. The father said that I look like my runaway mother and beat me every day. That woman invited a man into my house. And that one. The flames roaring as everything burned was the most beautiful scene. After 10 years in prison, I survived by burning trash while living as a wanderer. But then, one day, a revelation came. Notification. Mission start. Congratulations. From the burning rage deep in your bones and countless memories of fire and ash, a skill was formed. The burning rage deep within your flame has reached level 1. It proved I wasn't wrong. I'm chosen. From the moment he held the fire, he felt like the world had been changed. The world is destroyed. Why not burn it faster? His eyes grew more deranged. Yeah, I'm always right. It's not me. It's you who's wrong. He snapped back to reality, still confused. But why? He gritted his teeth, unable to understand why his arm had been broken. Yoon-ho smiled. What do you do now? Your left hand is broken. He raised his enhanced fist. He punched him and his nose started to bleed. The man tried to stay on his trembling feet, his thoughts chaotic. He used his skill. His hands were shaking, unable to be used. Yoon-ho approached him, his face terrifying. Does it hurt? Acceleration. He punched the man repeatedly with all his might. He was getting beat to a pulp, his nose bleeding constantly. His body trembled as he begged, Stop. He knelt on the ground, terrified. Please, forgive me. Yoon-ho said coldly, Don't cry just because it hurts this much. The customers are watching. In a separate room, someone was observing the situation. Their hand clenched into a fist, slamming down on the table. I underestimated him. Lee Yoon-ho. Hirona looked ahead, her face dark. 2 personal skills were unlocked at the same time. Well, fine. Let's finish this quickly and move on to the next mission. The girl held the broken bottle, her hands trembling. She stared at the scene before her, tears streaming down her face. She yelled, It's over. The other girl rushed to embrace her. Yoon-ho sighed. She ended it herself. That should be it. Suddenly, a sharp pain coursed through his body. His hands were burned, his fingers broken. Even with petrification, enduring that attack was too much. Before him stood the young girl, tears still in her eyes, ready to heal him again. She placed her hands on his wounds. Notification. Your wounds are being healed by healer Yoon So Oz power. Burn wound recovery rate 100%. Broken bone recovery rate 100%. His hands were healed. The others were relieved. Thank God, Captain. You're all healed. Yoon Ho was amazed. That's an amazing skill. With this, I won't need to use system rewards to heal myself. He looked at the girl. I should keep an eye on her. He smiled hesitantly. Thank you for healing me. She stood up. I'm just keeping my promise. Before he could say more, a notification appeared. What? Notification. An anonymous observer is extremely satisfied with Lee Yoon Ho's performance. A gift has been sent. Arana was visibly upset. A man spoke up. A gift? So they did receive it. It's so typical for observers watching the stream to send gifts to the chosen ones they like, but District 13 has only just started the selection. They haven't even picked one official chosen one. The restructuring guidelines clearly state that those who are not chosen can't receive support. Another man yelled, "That's impossible." Irona calmly said, "Wait a moment. A gift was received. This isn't support. It's a gift." The man asked, "Harona, what are you thinking? You'll get another warning. Are you okay?" She sighed. "It's fine. It's not a big deal. They won't be able to use it properly anyway." She smiled. It's been a long time since an observer has been this interested. We should repay them with a great show. It's time to expand the budget. What should the next mission be? Yoon Ho was surprised. Notification. A gift from an anonymous observer has been received. Do you want to check the gift? A gift fell before them. The others rushed to see it. Captain, what is it? Is it a random gift box? What are you doing? I thought it'd be like a reward from a mission. I'm so curious since you're the only one who gets them. The others were chattering excitedly, but Yuno was silent. He pointed at the red envelope. This is a gift, not a mission reward. Who sent it? This system is amazing. It has everything. Jae Hyuk said. The letter was opened. Yeah, but I don't know who sent it. It says an anonymous observer, recipient, Lee Yoon Ho, sender, unknown, no message. What's an observer? He pointed up to the sky. I guess it's an entity watching us through that eye. An enormous eye was looking down at them. Well, open it already. Jae Hyuk urged. Yoon Ho used his power to open the bag. A light burst out, causing him pain. June asked worriedly, Yoon Ho, are you okay? Yoon Ho smiled. I'm fine. Probably static electricity. Inside was a beautiful yellow bottle. Electrofluid, oil made from a lightning-struck tree. When embedded in a weapon, it allows the user to release high-voltage electricity on impact. Touching it will cause electrocution. Can be used 10 times. It looks awesome. Is it magic? Someone asked. Isn't it dangerous? I mean, it looks like there's electricity flowing in it, someone else said. It's fine as long as it's in the bottle. But if you touch it directly, you'll get electrocuted, Yoon Ho explained. Captain, we should find rubber gloves or something. Summon. The item disappeared. Rubber gloves? Not a bad idea, but it's useless against this power. But I have something better. He used petrification, something that can block both fire and electricity. He carefully activated his power. Oh, I forgot that stone can also block electricity. Jae Hyuk exclaimed. Yoon Ho used his power on his sword. Tear Blade has been upgraded to Electro Tear Blade. Temporary skill. Electrical discharge has been generated. One use has been charged. One use has been charged. One use has been charged. He smiled. Success. I can't wait to see how strong it is. I bet it'll release a burst of electricity when you stab them. It's probably more than a stun gun, someone said excitedly. Yoon Ho chuckled. Don't get your hopes up. We only have 10 charges, and if you use it without petrification. A notification suddenly appeared. Attention, survivors of Seoul Station. The next mission will begin at 1 p.m. What? It's been only a short time since we finished the last mission. They did the math. 1 p.m.? Damn it, it's now. 12:59 p.m. Mission start. Safe zone has been established. A long subway train became the safe zone. Yoon Ho started thinking. Something long is connected into a rectangle. It's a train. That means, he yelled, it's the station. Run. Time limit, 5 minutes. Anyone outside the safe zone will be eliminated. They ran with all their might. 5 minutes? That's cutting it close. Yoon Ho said, stop complaining and run if you don't want to die. Okay. The group struggled to move. Damn it, 4 minutes left. Dad, I need to pee. Sorry kid, if we stop now we'll die. Yoon Ho, thanks, thank me later. June said, Captain, we need to go down fast. Where's the fastest way to go? The others yelled. Yoon Ho yelled, 3, 4. Here, follow me. It's this train. There's a car at the far right. June suddenly yelled. But Yoon-ho, see, isn't that the opposite direction? What do you mean opposite? Look at the map. We should go left, Jae-hyuk said. The right one is correct, that's train number 18. Wait, Captain, you said the last car? What's going on? Yoon-ho was confused. June, isn't the safe zone at the far right? What? But mine shows the far left, car number 1. Yoon-ho finally understood. Everyone has a different safe zone. So this is an independent competition? The countdown was nearing its end. 0:57. Inside room 18, the system announced, mission will begin in 10 seconds. Yoon-ho stood ready for battle. Suddenly, a massive eye socket bulged out from the ceiling. Yoon-ho was slightly hesitant before the giant eye, yet the eye seemed determined to force its way in. Then, a demonic foot stomped heavily on the ground. From the eye emerged a fierce, red-skinned demon, and at that exact moment, the system announced the mission had started. You have a total of 3 chances to defeat the demon. Yoon-ho, with a terrified expression, stared at the demon. A DKB. The demon slowly advanced towards him. Yoon-ho hesitated, thinking, it looks dangerous, should I try? Without wasting any more time, he immediately used his special move, petrification, summon. In an instant, a blade encased in powerful electric currents materialized in Yoon-ho's grip. Summon electric blade, lightning charge. Uses remaining, 10. The demon was startled at the sight of the electric blade and stared wide-eyed. Then, it roared, a terrifying sound that seemed to echo from the depths of hell. Yoon-ho quickly shielded himself from the intense sound wave. Ugh, he thought, covering his ears, its power is terrifying, my ears feel like they're about to burst. He knew there was no time to play around. He had to finish this quickly. I need to use acceleration. Yoon-ho shouted, acceleration. His sword began to glow as if an electric current was surging through it. He looked at the demon in shock. He tried to shout a few more times, acceleration, acceleration. But, strangely, he couldn't speak. He realized that no matter how many times he shouted, he couldn't make a sound. He suddenly understood. If I can't speak, then is that scream its ability? He thought. So, that's why I can't speak. Luckily, I summoned the blade beforehand. But it's also unlucky that I can't use acceleration. Still, with this sword, I can attack. The demon suddenly rushed at him. Yoon-ho quickly dodged to the side, relieved. This demon is slower than I thought. He immediately slashed with his sword. Exploiting its weakness, he quickly used lightning charge, thrusting his blade upwards from its throat. The demon let out a terrifying shriek. Finally, the demon was defeated, and Car 18 was cleared. Yoon-ho smiled triumphantly. Great. Although it's weak without the ability to petrify, with this power, that weakness is insignificant. I wonder how the others are doing. I was able to pass easily because I have abilities. But what about them? There is still someone. Mission failure, the system suddenly announced, triggering a red alert. Before he could even celebrate, the system dropped a bombshell. The penalty for mission failure will now be applied. Yoon-ho, shocked, exclaimed, wait, failure? Arona, the assistant, stood by her side. She nonchalantly responded to the girl's shock. Didn't you say that the support item wasn't anything special? Arona replied coldly, I seem to have miscalculated, haven't I? It's too late to play innocent. The girl frowned angrily. No. Normally, he should keep that for later, when he's stronger. Like, I'll use it when I get stronger. Arona, maliciously, gritted her teeth in anger. But now that guy is making good use of the gift. No need to save it. A demon that silences its targets, it was a perfect counter to those who rely on abilities. A good penalty to Lee Yoon-ho. But, Arona stated smugly, it's not over yet. The remaining lightning charge usage is only at 9, just 9 more times. In that dangerous moment, the system announced again, all targets outside the safe zone will be eliminated. The penalty for mission failure has been applied. The demon has evolved into an upper demon. Defeat the upper demon. Yoon-ho realized that something was wrong. Something's off. Each person's safe zone was divided into separate cars. When the first demon appeared, it stated that there would be 3 chances and he had completely cleared Car 18. He wondered, Car 18 was cleared. No way. Could it be? He shouted, acceleration. Once again, a powerful current surged through his blade. He took that chance and immediately slashed the upper demon across its body. In an instant, it was defeated. The upper demon had been eliminated, and Car 18 was cleared. Yoon-ho gritted his teeth, furious at the game's injustice. There wasn't much time left. Arona, observing through a screen, mocked, look, it seems like he's figured it out. Yeah, he has to clear the whole train at once. The assistant responded, as expected, the difference between his ability and skills compared to the other participants is huge. But to be honest, I'm a bit worried that this might get to the higher-ups. Arona wasn't worried. She reassured him. How would they know? It's fine. It's fine. However, he didn't feel fine at all. He lowered his head and replied, no, there will definitely be a debate among the observers about fairness. Just then, on the big screen appeared, the Raven of the Investigation Bureau has learned of participant Lee Yun-ho's ability to utilize items excellently. The prince of the bureau was also wondering whether someone like him should exist in District 13. He asked, why are they acting like this? Once again, the system appeared on the screen. Participant Lee Yun-ho's spectator's eye has reached its maximum capacity. Do you want to upgrade the eye? Arona thought for a moment and then said, upgrade, huh? The assistant tried to stop her. Arona, don't tell me you're going to use points. Arona smirked and said, well, to be honest, I was planning on it. Arona, are you going to defeat all the demons in this area by yourself? It's impossible. On Yun-ho's side, the time limit is 10 minutes, he thought as he quickly left the area. Arona laughed at his hurried appearance. Clearing car 18 to car 1, and then returning to the safe zone, not enough time. So what? Arona said triumphantly. What will you do, Lee Yun-ho? The system announced again, points have been used. Lee Yun-ho's spectator eye capacity has increased to stage 2. Arona chuckled. It's all or nothing, isn't it? You better pay back what I've invested in you. She added with an evil smile, no matter what the cost. She smiled with cruel despotic behavior and complete disregard for human life. A massive tremor shook the train. The giant eye above continued to stare down, making Yun-ho feel truly cornered. The upper demon had been defeated, and car 17 was clear. Too close, he thought. It kept throwing its club until it died. Anyway, another one down. Suddenly, he felt someone tugging at his clothes from behind. He turned and was surprised to see a small child looking at him, trying to say something. Kid, what's wrong? He asked. Were you hiding here the whole time? The child nodded. Yes, I was hiding. Yun-ho was bewildered. Is that even possible? He wondered. Even though the child is small, this train is so cramped. Let's get out of here. The child had been hiding in the bathroom between cars 17 and 16. He instructed the child. Stay quiet and don't come out, got it? Car 16 is clear. Time remaining, 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Think. How to clear all the cars within 10 minutes? He opened another door and saw a familiar face. What are you doing here? His former teammate replied. Oh, I realized that as long as I come back before the time runs out, it's fine. So, he wasn't fighting, but just hiding outside. I need to rethink. Yun-ho felt exhausted. Trying to clear all these cars by myself in 10 minutes. Damn it, is it all over? Yun-ho tried to stay calm. No, it's not over. Stop hiding. Go to the store and buy any weapons you can get your hands on. He then turned and left quickly. To the third round, finish this quickly and help car 14. Thanks. What the heck? I'm almost dead and I haven't caught anything. And you're telling me. Acceleration? He ran forward with incredible speed. Think. What I can do now for the next round is... He suddenly stopped. A red monster holding a baseball bat blocked his way. Huh. That person. Lee Yeji from the accounting department. The sword she's holding. Is it a weapon from the random box? But why are her eyes closed? Yun-ho ran past her, deep in thought. Immediately, a large hand appeared. In an instant, blood splattered everywhere. Yun-ho assessed the situation seriously. The upper demon has been defeated. He addressed Lee Yeji. Lee Yeji, you can open your eyes now. Huh? Car 14 has been cleared. She looked at him, astonished. Lee Yun-ho, where did you come from all of a sudden? If you want to kill that monster, stab its heart or eyes. Next time, open your eyes and aim properly. Thanks. With this speed, maybe car 4 is the maximum he could reach. Excuse me, the girl suddenly asked. Lee Yun-ho, I have completed the mission, right? Yun-ho replied seriously. No, this mission is only over when all the cars are cleared. That's why I'm here. Hearing this, she exclaimed in disbelief. What? You mean we have to kill more monsters? Her hands clenched tightly on her sword. Of course. Yun-ho has finished this round, but who knows what will happen next, Yeji? Yun-ho interrupted her. Don't you feel grateful? If it wasn't for me, you would have been injured or worse. Dead. Ah, yes, thank you. He hesitated a little. So, can I borrow your sword? Very quickly, the monsters were eliminated cleanly. The upper demon has been defeated. Car 13 has been cleared. Remaining lightning charge uses 6. Yun-ho held the sword, deep in thought. Without petrification, I can't use electric blade. I have to use this to clear the other cars. He also encountered the girl with the healing ability. Phone calls, texts, social media. I've tried everything, but nothing works. Maybe they know. I want to send messages to people in front, passing from car to car. Like from car 13. Like relaying. Yes, If the people in front clear up to car 4, it should be enough. Even telling them to eliminate them quickly and help the nearby cars is a good idea. The girl said, but there's no way to contact them. Also, most people can't catch the monsters alone. Suddenly, a message popped up. Congratulations, participant Lee Yoon-ho's eye has been upgraded to stage 2. Huh, what is this? Yoon-ho was shocked by this. Eye upgraded? A large eye suddenly appeared above the train car. In an instant, the whole atmosphere turned gray. Hey, I can't see anything. What's going on? Notification. Upgrade complete. Limited communication with the observers is now activated. Participant Lee Yoon-ho's synchronization rate has increased dramatically. The eye above the train car was still there. It's bright again. It then shrank and turned into a small round eye floating in the air. What is this? Did the eye on the ceiling have offspring or something? What just happened? Don't tell me there's a power outage. Saul, can you see anything? Huh, what are you talking about? Yoon-ho could feel everything around him was changing. Various notifications quickly appeared. That small eye. Only I can see it. An anonymous observer is curious how this situation will be resolved. An anonymous observer sends greetings, saying they are pleased to meet you. The prince of the investigation bureau folds his arms, saying this time won't be easy. The raven of the bureau laments the loss of a gem after so long. What is this? Chat windows? The girl next to him, seeing his strange behavior, asked, Hey, is something wrong? This is not the time for this. No, it's nothing. In conclusion, we need a way to contact everyone. Saul made a suggestion. Like in the movies, you could send a note inside a snack. Movies, snacks, note. Yoon-ho muttered to himself, could it be? I can't let this stop me. Meanwhile, June was experiencing some pain, but she wasn't scared. She looked forward. Compared to Yoon-ho who still fights even when he is being burned, this is nothing. But what should I do? I definitely killed it, but it revived, and it said I failed. But it's Yoon-ho. He must have understood the rules of the game. She quickly grabbed a small dagger. If it was Yoon-ho, remembering the handsome man's face, first, he would deal with the monster in front of him, right? Aha, I got it. She then quickly launched the dagger forward. The monster was instantly killed. The large creature fell to the floor without being able to react. But the system announced again, notification, mission failed. Punishment will be applied due to mission failure. In the distance, a terrifying force was approaching. Yoon-ho, what should I do? But then another notification sounded. Notification, you have received a gift. Would you like to check it? Yes/no. Notification, recipient Kim Jun, sender Lee Yoon-ho. You can leave the safe zone during the mission. You need to clear the entire train, so please help me. Answer with some random gift, like moldy bread. Huh? Yoon-ho. Back in room 18, Lee Yoon-ho was sitting in the office when the system displayed a notification, a gift from Choy Jae-hyuk. Looking at the message, he wondered, did it get delivered correctly? As if in response to that, the system announced, the Raven of the Administration Bureau smiles with satisfaction at how the gift system is being used. After accepting the gift, the system stated, confirmed. On the screen appeared, recipient Lee Yoon-ho, sender Choy Jae-hyuk. Choy Jae-hyuk sent him a message. You okay, boss? I thought I was a goner for real. Suddenly a monster fell from the sky. No matter how many times I killed it. It was a short message, but it was cut off halfway through. No matter how many times I killed it. He was puzzled. The message got cut off? Is there a character limit? As a precaution, he had kept his messages short and was glad it had worked. He thought, then June must have received hers properly. Suddenly, the system began to announce messages rapidly. Lee Yoon-ho, the prince of the investigation bureau, shakes his head, stating that the culinary tastes of District 13 are incomprehensible. The Raven of the Administration Bureau urges him to drink up. Lee Yoon-ho, overwhelmed by the barrage of notifications, sighed, inventory, and the system responded, mission will begin in 10 seconds. And soon enough, the final mission began. Defeat the archdemon. Lee Yoon-ho opened his hands and commanded, petrification, summon. While he was summoning, the archdemon bared its fangs, roaring fiercely, but Lee Yoon-ho quickly unleashed lightning discharge. As he used it, the notification showed, remaining lightning discharge uses 5. With his agility, Lee Yoon-ho quickly cleared car 18. He ran towards the front, his eyes clouded in thought. Next is car 17. This time, he thought, acceleration. But the system displayed a countdown, with only a few minutes to finish. 9:45, 9:39. His eyes focused on floor 17 with a serious look. He thought, rotate my skills to manage during cooldowns. 9:18, 9:10. Lee Yoon-ho reached floor 14. Considering the situation, he weighed his options. The second execution is faster. 8:46. If petrification isn't ready, focus on lightning blade. Without further hesitation, he summoned his power, summoned Steel Blade. Lee Yun-ho looked at the blade, then thought, I can use Lee Yeji's sword. Seeing Lee Yun-ho's decisive action, the system praised. An anonymous observer seems satisfied with how Lee Yun-ho is utilizing his weapons. Lee Yun-ho quickly finished off the archdemon, its blood splattering everywhere. Meanwhile, the system gave new information. A gift from Kim Jun has arrived. Would you like to confirm? Lee Yun-ho, holding his sword, said firmly, confirm. On the system screen, recipient Lee Yun-ho, sender Kim Jun, I finished cars 1 to 3, will help up to car 6, then turn back, take care. Reading the message, Lee Yun-ho felt relieved. Jun is safe, thank God. Time continued to count down. With 8:20 left, he immediately went up to car 12. Lee Yun-ho ran as fast as his long legs could carry him, thinking, the plan is progressing faster than expected. If I can break through to car 6, I'll have enough time to come back. But, he paused. What about the others? Soon, the elevator announced his arrival. Lee Yun-ho had reached car 11. Inside car 11, no one was present. As he walked around, he was surprised. Fatigue was setting in. He sighed. The life there fighting so hard to build. He was horrified by the sight of the corpses littering the floor. The system spoke. The Raven of the Administration Bureau gazes at the fallen contestants with suspicion, and in contrast to this, the Prince of the Investigation Bureau snorts, saying this is normal. Seeing the bloody name tag of one of the deceased, Lee Yun-ho felt a surge of rage. His whole body was hurting, but he thought, so, trampling and destroying them is normal? He coldly roared, shut up, we are not living to be your playthings. The system continued. Warning, an anonymous observer states that the participant is making dangerous comments. The Prince of the Investigation Bureau is enraged, saying that the participant is insolent. Hearing the notifications, Lee Yun-ho wondered, insolent? Insolent? He glared at the archdemon roaring in front of him. He thought, so what? You're the ones who crossed the line first. At car 7, Lee Yun-ho looked around and saw no one. There's nothing left. Someone already defeated the archdemon here. The chairs were overturned and covered in blood. Someone left a level of destruction like this. Jae-hyuk. On the other side, Jae-hyuk gritted his teeth, trying to smash a luggage compartment. He turned to the man kneeling in front of him and said worriedly, you have to live to see your daughter again. The man cried, oh, it's all my fault. You're in danger because of me. Jae-hyuk replied, no, boss told me to go help around. The other man asked, wait, boss? The one who saved us earlier. Meanwhile, Lee Yun-ho unleashed a new move, petrification, then lightning discharge. The archdemon trembled at the power. The system then announced, lightning discharge uses depleted. But with his unwavering belief in victory, he quickly finished it. Car 6 is cleared. Jae-hyuk was surprised while the other man was delighted. B-boss, he stammered. Teacher. Jae-hyuk, crying with relief, ran to embrace Lee Yun-ho. Boss? Lee Yun-ho calmly looked at him. Didn't you meet Jun? Jae-hyuk looked confused. Her? I didn't. Realizing that something was wrong, Lee Yun-ho worried. She said she would help up to car 6 and then return. At car 5, the archdemon rose and began strangling a young girl as if she were a doll, while 2 other girls stood in shock, crying for help, save her. The older woman said, oh no, what do we do? She's been captured. The girl below shouted, sis, stay calm, I'll save you. Jae-hyuk and Lee Yun-ho quickly arrived at car 5. Seeing the situation, Jae-hyuk raised his shield. No, boss, let me handle this. Lee Yun-ho stopped him. Don't, Jae-hyuk. In a confined space, your broadsword is dangerous. You might hurt the girl. Looking at the crazed archdemon threatening the girl with its sharp teeth, Lee Yun-ho stated, the archdemon knows that and is using her as a shield. So, the action should be simple. Lee Yun-ho summoned his powers, but unfortunately, acceleration was on cooldown for 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Realizing that he didn't have enough speed to save the girl, Lee Yun-ho gritted his teeth. Damn, the skill's on cooldown. But he thought, we need to find a way to distract and redirect its attention. The older woman shouted, look over here, and threw a dagger at the archdemon. Seeing the projectile rapidly approaching, he was puzzled. A dagger? Looking at it, he felt, that's too dangerous. Seeing the young girl crying in the archdemon's grasp, her eyes wide with fear looking towards the dagger, he shouted, Jun, if you miss, she'll be in danger. The boy in the archdemon's grasp trembled with fear. Then a scream was heard. In an instant, the dagger pierced straight into the center of the archdemon's third eye. The boy looked towards the group in surprise. Lee Yun-ho, Jae-hyuk and Jun stared in shock. It's dead? Jae-hyuk asked hesitantly. Boss, that was... It vibrated, right? Jun was speechless, looking at the data on the system. she thought with a blank face. Data, of the skill. Looking at it, June murmured, data, skill. Lee Yoon-ho, hearing her, anxiously looked at her and moved closer. Then, he suddenly shouted as if remembering something. June, do you remember? June turned to him and replied, yes. When they had both calmed down, Lee Yoon-ho reminded her, listen to me, you need to remember that feeling right now. The feeling when you threw the sword, everything you were thinking when you did it. That's how you unlock your skill. June's spirit seemed to return and she cheerfully exclaimed, ah, okay. I understand. Not now though. Let's try again when everything is over. Jae-hyuk, worried, ran up behind them and asked, are you two okay? June turned to him and asked, oh, should we do that? The system's countdown appeared, 3 minutes 35 seconds remaining. Lee Yoon-ho shouted, we have 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. Everyone, return to your safe zones. Jae-hyuk jumped up cheerfully. Yes, understood. The woman on the floor said, ah, I can't believe I forgot. I just need to go back to where I was standing. Right, young man? The boy who was just saved replied, you too, sir. Lee Yoon-ho was about to leave when someone called, wait, sir. The man ran after him, completely exhausted. Hey, is that Yule? The child, as if understanding what he was asking, replied, the child is safe. She's in the car next to mine. The man started to cry. He grasped his hand tightly and said with a choked voice, thank you. Really, thank you so much. Then, he introduced himself, my name is Kim Hanel. I swear I will repay your kindness. After a while, they reached car 17. Lee Yoon-ho thought, come to think of it, how could you hide without being detected? Even now, I can't find her. He looked around but couldn't see her. Could she be hiding in the bathroom in the hallway? Suddenly, a soft hand grasped his. He gently turned around. Lee Yoon-ho saw the child looking tired. He gently asked, oh, Yule, right? He looked at her closely and asked, you didn't cry and stayed put, right? He lowered himself and patted her head. She hesitated before asking him, Mister, have you seen my dad? He gently replied, yes, he's up ahead. Lee Yoon-ho looked at her gently and said, if you wait here until the mission is over, your dad will come. Do you understand? The child's eyes welled up with tears. Yes. Lee Yoon-ho went up to car 18. The system announced, mission complete. Congratulations, the project choice has been completed. The synchronization rate has slightly increased. Currently, due to outstanding performance, the score evaluation has been postponed. Hearing this, he wondered, outstanding? Are they talking about me? The system continued. In the near future, the results of everyone's missions will be compiled and a final score will be assigned. Final notification, congratulations, you have eliminated 19 beings not of this world. You have obtained the title of Demon Hunter. He was puzzled and asked, Demon Hunter? The system screen asked, would you like to check the effects of the Demon Hunter title? Lee Yoon-ho replied, check. However, a new message appeared. The abilities of low-level spirits will have no effect on you. In battles with mid-level spirits, your attack power will increase by 20%. You will not succumb when facing high-level spirits. Seeing the messages, Lee Yoon-ho thought, levels. It's no wonder they get bigger and stronger with each round. He closed his eyes, he didn't want to see that kind of scene again. Maybe he was just too tired, but the system continued to announce regardless of his standstill, Soul Station area, personnel, guidance, professional due to the completion of the project change. The giant eye was slowly closing. Yoon-ho suddenly looked at it and thought, Lee Yoon-ho, he questioned, snow is gone. At Seoul Station, Lee Yoon-ho looked around and saw nothing but ruins. There was no sign of life. He thought, if there's one good thing about the collapsing world. He looked at the grilled pork belly on the table, his mind wandering. It's that you can eat as much food as you want without paying. The battle was over. The group went to a restaurant. While eating, June asked, what was that broadcast earlier? Jae-hyuk replied, that's what I was wondering. It's never been interrupted like that before. June saw Lee Yoon-ho sitting beside her, and she reminded him, eat slowly, Yoon-ho. Lee Yoon-ho was devouring his food. This is so good, he said. June, you should eat too. Jae-hyuk suddenly remembered something and said, oh yeah, boss, isn't this high-quality sirloin? And the steamed egg and the janitor's stew are amazing too. June looked up at the ceiling cheerfully and said, it feels like a company dinner. Lee Yoon-ho, while picking up food, turned to her and said, it really does. Suddenly, a girl approached their table. She bowed her head and said hesitantly, thank you for saving us. June smiled. Now I'm sir? Lee Yoon-ho, while eating, replied, no, if anything, she made everything more dangerous. You should thank Yoon-ho instead. The girl, hearing this, exclaimed, oh no, if it wasn't for both of you, we would have been in big trouble. Another girl nodded. Isn't that right? Jae-hyuk said, oh, this warms my heart, and then asked, But have you all been properly introduced? June introduced herself. I'm Kim June. Nice to meet you. The girl happily said, I'm Min Yojin. Please take care of me. The other girl chimed in, I'm Yoon Sola. Then the girls turned to Lee Yoon Ho, who was drinking water, and asked, what about you, sir? He replied, I'm Lee Yoon Ho. You girls are students from the public health high school, right? The girls' jaws dropped in shock. How did you know? Seeing their surprised faces, Lee Yoon Ho calmly explained, there's only one girls' school in this area, and there's your healing skills. One of the girls exclaimed, you're like a detective. Suddenly, Lee Yoon Ho stood up and said, June, and she answered, yes? He turned to her and said, let's go. Jae Hyuk and the two girls, hearing that, asked, huh? Just the two of you? June also asked, what? But before he could answer, she blushed and said, oh, just us two? Lee Yoon Ho replied, yeah, just the two of us, and calmly continued, we will work to improve ourselves. At that time, Harona was standing in front of a huge door. Someone next to her said, you may enter. Immediately, the door opened, and dust flew everywhere. A frightening-looking man sat inside. Harona entered the room and said respectfully, Administrator Harona. Greetings, Director. The man asked in a somber tone, Harona, you allowed support for a non-selected individual? Harona worriedly bowed her head. It was just a small gift, Director, he continued, and you have taken it upon yourself to conduct a mission in violation of company policy. Harona was sweating with worry. She looked up and said, they are not ordinary individuals. They possess both intelligence and combat abilities, and they use their modest capabilities more fiercely than anyone. Hearing this, Director Park, sitting there like a demon, went into a rage and roared, how dare you? Harona trembled in fear. He continued to roar in the dark, you dare to violate the rules for a non-selected individual? Director Park enunciated every word. Hyuk, gradually getting louder, moving his demonic hand closer to her, Harona. He squeezed Harona with his hairy hand, lifting her into the air like a small animal. He roared, Harona. Harona, in pain, tried to speak loudly to explain and save herself. His grip tightened and she stammered, he's extraordinary. If the director could see it himself. The director rolled his eyes at her and said, what useless manager dared to call a midterm assessment extraordinary? Harona tried to pry his vicious grip off her in fear. Suddenly, he looked at her and said, number 17, that's enough. Harona shivered and replied, that was a mission that encouraged participants to kill each other, right? If so, the survivors would join forces to take down one person. But, he widened his demonic eyes and stared at her, enunciating every word. Harona, are you going to repeat the same mistake? Her body still trembled, but she forced a smile and replied, understood, I will follow your orders. Meanwhile, Lee Yoon Ho and June watched as a knife flew from out of nowhere and embedded itself into a seat. Lee Yoon Ho asked, this time, was there any reaction? June replied, confused, no, none at all. Seeing the data in front of her, June anxiously looked at him and asked, why isn't the skill data increasing? I threw it the same way as before, even when I hit the target. Lee Yoon Ho, hearing that, pondered, the train is disadvantageous for June's power and angle. We've tried everything exactly the same. So, the only remaining option is, after thinking, Lee Yoon Ho suddenly called her name. June, throw it at me. June exclaimed in shock, what? You want me to throw a knife at Yoon Ho? That's absurd. He calmly explained, this is the only method left. Before, I was throwing at a target, not at a taegui. If it still doesn't work, we'll give up. June retorted, don't be ridiculous and waste time inside my safe zone. I'm really going to throw it. Remember to dodge. Got it? Lee Yoon Ho looked at the knife as if challenging it. Don't worry. June then threw the knife at Lee Yoon Ho. He calmly watched it and commanded, acceleration. He suddenly dodged to the side. June stared at him in shock. Huh? Lee Yoon Ho, standing with his hands on his hips, said smugly, how was that? We're measuring the data required to activate the skill. It actually worked. They're measuring the skill data. Lee Yoon Ho laughed. So, should we continue? It's around 8 p.m. June and Lee Yoon Ho were walking through a ruined street. She said to him, Yoon Ho, thank you for helping me, even though you must be really tired. Lee Yoon Ho replied, it's nothing, we're partners. June then asked, but why isn't the skill data exceeding 99%? Lee Yoon Ho stared at the distance and replied, it seems the final activation needs some kind of mechanism. This made Lee Yoon Ho think of the past, when he unlocked acceleration. It had been stuck at 99% and only activated just before death. At that time, the system announced, congratulations, Skill Acceleration 1 has been unlocked. He thought, it seems it will activate under specific conditions, but the problem is, it's too dangerous. Suddenly, the system announced. June and Lee Yoon-ho looked up to read the message. We request those who survived in the Seoul Station area to be patient. The next mission is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Lee Yoon-ho said, it starts again at 9 o'clock tomorrow. June turned and smiled at him. It's like going to work, isn't it? Starting work exactly at 9 a.m. Haha. Lee Yoon-ho replied, yeah, it is. He thought, there's a work in but no way to clock out. The system announced, the project evaluation and scoring has been completed. Lee Yoon-ho looked at the words and thought, they're forcing people into life or death situations and grading them like products. Lee Yoon-ho hated the announcement. This company is truly the worst. The system continued, restructuring candidate Lee Yoon-ho. Assessment score, S+. Congratulations. Lee Yoon-ho was perplexed. S+? The system continued, due to the completion of the project selection, your rank has been updated. It displayed his current status. Lee Yoon-ho, affiliation, District 13, Ro said, Military District 106, Preliminary Selection Bank, Restructuring Target S+, Physical Strength 12, Power 11, Intelligence 10, Judgment 15, Agility 15, Endurance 31, Characteristics, Unlocked, Skills, Acceleration LV2, Petrification LV1. Looking at the achievements, Lee Yoon-ho wondered, what changed compared to before is just my affiliation and rank. He murmured, Agility is high at 15. The system then displayed, Intelligence 10, Judgment 15, Agility 15, Endurance 31, Characteristics, Unlocked. Seeing the stats displayed, Lee Yoon-ho thought, did the stat decrease due to my leg injury recover naturally? Then he thought, of course, this system has many features that can be used as desired. The more I know the better, it continued. Points have been earned from mission rewards. Seeing this feature, Lee Yoon-ho stared at it and thought, the messaging feature through GIFs is very useful, and there are definitely more things to discover. Finally, the rewards based on the assessment score will also increase. With this, I can compete with those in higher positions. With an S+ rating, you have received an additional reward of 2 points and 1,500 welfare points. Lee Yoon-ho told himself, I will search every nook and cranny and leave nothing unchecked. His eyes became determined. I will make the most out of this system. Then, the system announced, special reward. Choose your desired path. In front of Lee Yoon-ho were 2 doors, one on the left labeled Complete Training, and one on the right, labeled Begin Training. Looking at what was in front of him, he stared at them, bewildered and thought, Begin Training? He looked at the door there and wondered, would opening it take me somewhere else? He felt lost, not knowing what either choice might bring. June, up ahead, turned to look at Lee Yoon-ho still standing there. While Lee Yoon-ho thought, since this is a rare reward, I have to choose carefully. He looked at the door labeled Complete Training. However, Lee Yoon-ho slowly took his steps toward the door beside it. Although I want to complete everything at once, I need to face the gnawing restructuring process. After thinking, he decided to take action. It's just the beginning. Lee Yoon-ho approached the other door. The system announced, you have chosen Begin Training. Lee Yoon-ho looked at his hand and commanded, Petrification. June, seeing everything, shouted in fear, Yoon-ho, June, where are you going? The dorms are this way. Lee Yoon-ho turned to her and said, you go ahead first, this time it's my turn. June asked him, your turn? What do you mean? Lee Yoon-ho opened the door and put his hand through it, and turned to June who was staring at him in bewilderment. It seems the system has opened a door for training. June watched his action and looked surprised. What? Your hand disappeared. Suddenly, Lee Yoon-ho pulled out his sword and commanded, summon. Before leaving, Lee Yoon-ho turned to June and said, I will be back soon. June watched him leave, not knowing what to say. Finally, he stepped inside. The system displayed, target Lee Yoon-ho is being transported to the training facility. Lee Yoon-ho quickly passed through the door. The system announced, Lee Yoon-ho has arrived at the education center. Lee Yoon-ho looked around, bewildered. This is the education center? There's nothing but white walls surrounding me. He was surprised. Everything around him was white. Suddenly, something caught his eye. He stood before a large screen and asked, is this a screen? As he stared at it, the system displayed, please select the courses you wish to complete. Available courses are limited due to minimum ranking requirements. Lee Yoon-ho wondered, courses to complete? Suddenly, something appeared before him. What is this? He wondered. The system presented, charismatic leadership. In a time of chaos, who will lead the lost souls? Join us in the study of leadership, the foundation for future leaders. Completion reward. Unlock Charisma LV1. Diverse cooking class. Craving delicious food? Need fresh ingredients? Look no further. A feast created from the bodies of magical beasts awaits you. Completion reward. Unlock Diverse Cooking LV1. Basic Swordsmanship. Want to master basic swordsmanship skills? Understand yourself, understand the sword, and ensure victory. Completion reward, unlock basic swordsmanship LV1. Looking at the system announcement, Lee Yoon-ho thought, it might be useful, but I don't need it right now. He immediately dismissed it. Lee Yoon-ho stood before the lengthy list from the system, pondering. The imminent threats are the missions and the magical beasts. In reality, I only have one option. The system continued to display, basic swordsmanship. Want to master basic swordsmanship skills? Understand yourself, understand the sword, and ensure victory. Completion reward, unlock basic swordsmanship LV1. He had his own worries but steadied himself. The imminent threats are the missions and the magical beasts. In reality, I only have one option. With that, Lee Yoon-ho didn't hesitate. He made his decision. The system announced, selection confirmed, and then ordered, moving to the classroom. It then announced, the basic swordsmanship course only allows the use of one weapon. Do you wish to select the lightning blade? Lee Yoon-ho firmly answered, yes. As he spoke, his eyes widened. Suddenly, an invisible force appeared, enveloping his body. Lee Yoon-ho, bewildered, wondered, what's with this heavy feeling? The system continued, target Lee Yoon-ho has entered the classroom. System order, the classroom effect increases swordsmanship proficiency. Hearing that, Lee Yoon-ho stood there, thinking, classroom effect? Everything has changed a lot from before. Suddenly, Lee Yoon-ho saw someone approaching. He became alert and thought, that thing. Immediately, he grabbed his sword. He moved towards them, but the person approaching was himself. He wondered, is that me? Want to master basic swordsmanship skills? Understand yourself, understand the sword, and ensure victory. Completion reward, unlock basic swordsmanship LV1. Lee Yoon-ho took a firm grip on his sword. He asked himself, so, this is the meaning of understanding yourself? An image copy. This will be fun. The system announced, course target check. Course target, 1. Understanding parrying, 0 out of 100. 2. Understanding thrusting, 0 out of 100. 3. Understanding slashing, 0 out of 100. Lee Yoon-ho stared at it and asked, parrying, thrusting, slashing? He thought, simpler than I thought. The system ordered, basic swordsmanship class begin. Immediately, Lee Yoon-ho unleashed his sword with the fastest speed, thrusting it forward. He was slightly surprised looking at it, seeing the other him holding a sword coming towards him. Lee Yoon-ho exclaimed, what the heck? This guy. Lee Yoon-ho quickly dodged his slash, thinking, is he really trying to kill me? If that's the case, at that moment, a fiery passion ignited within him. He was ready to fight back. Lee Yoon-ho shouted, unleashing his ultimate move, acceleration. During this time, the other his eyes became filled with rage, wielding his sword fiercely towards him. However, something was wrong. Looking at him, he confusedly thought, even our skills are the same? The two swords clashed, creating a loud sound. The other him continued to charge straight at him. Lee Yoon-ho tried to use all of his strength to retaliate. His eyes became terrifyingly red. He was pushed back. On the other side, Lee Yoon-ho retreated and made another strike. But before he could unleash his special move, the other him immediately attacked and unleashed a dangerous slash. Thankfully, Lee Yoon-ho was able to dodge it in time. Looking at that attack, Lee Yoon-ho was amazed. Too fast. Lee Yoon-ho didn't stop. He pulled out his sword again and fought back. Every slash was blocked. Lee Yoon-ho stopped, staring at the other him, and thought in fear, his skill and swordsmanship are far superior to mine. This battle is clearly disadvantageous. The two looked at each other, but the real Lee Yoon-ho was even more determined. I can't lose to a copy, he thought. Lee Yoon-ho, panting, looked at him with determined eyes. Mission rewards. Suddenly, the system displayed a message. Please select mission rewards. Lee Yoon-ho thought, if that guy is a copy of me, then he would only be able to copy my abilities at a specific time. Finally, he firmly said, 1 point to acceleration. The system continued. Acceleration LV21, upgraded to acceleration LV33, activation time increased from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. Lee Yoon-ho ordered, 2 points to petrification, enhancing my right arm. The system announced, petrification LV81, upgraded to petrification LV101, skill range extended to your right arm. Looking at petrification being activated on his arm, Lee Yoon-ho thought, if I get stronger after being copied, then how will that be? Suddenly, the other Lee Yoon-ho's eyes turned dark and he looked at him with even more terror. Lee Yoon-ho asked, what? He challenged the other him, why not copy this too? He thought, if you can, of course. Immediately, Lee Yoon-ho shouted, acceleration, petrification, and the other him copied him exactly. Both of them quickly moved towards each other, swords drawn. The dark Lee Yun-ho's eyes were cold as he stared at him. They moved their swords towards each other, both using all of their strength to withstand the other's power. Lee Yun-ho looked at him with defiant eyes. In an instant, he unleashed a more powerful technique. A fatal slash was directed at the real Lee Yun-ho. Lee Yun-ho quickly resisted this powerful attack. He looked at it and smirked. This shield isn't bad either. At that moment, the system announced, "You have gained understanding in parrying, 1 out of 100. Warning, collecting data to unlock a skill." Hearing that, Lee Yun-ho exclaimed, "Huh?" But he continued to withstand the other's attack while wondering, "Wait, what's going on?" Lee Yun-ho thought in surprise, "No way, not again." Not stopping there, Lee Yun-ho gripped his sword tighter. He lunged powerfully, putting all of his strength into it. A direct thrust at his chest. The system appeared. "You have gained understanding in thrusting, 1 out of 100. Warning, collecting data to unlock a skill." Seeing his sword pierce the other Lee Yun-ho thought tiredly, "So you're saying I have to do this 100 times? Lee Yun-ho, exhausted, let his sword drop to the ground. The system announced, 7 hours have passed since the class began. All course objectives have been completed. Lee Yun-ho stared at the other him, who was collapsing on the ground. The system then suggested, "Please check your status board. Course objective. 1. Understanding parrying, 100 out of 100. 2. Understanding thrusting, 100 out of 100. 3. Understanding slashing, 100 out of 100. Warning, all necessary data to unlock a skill has been measured. Congratulations, Basic Swordsmanship LV1 has been unlocked." Seeing the messages on the screen, Lee Yun-ho was delighted. "It's done," he thought. "The first skill I've obtained through my own choice." He felt as though a great weight had been lifted. The system continued. Basic Swordsmanship LV1. When equipped with any long sword, attack power plus 10. When equipped with any long sword, attack power plus 10. He thought, it's different from skills like acceleration or petrification. Firstly, he looked at it, somewhat worried. The system continued to display, Basic Swordsmanship LV1. When equipped with any long sword, attack power plus 10. Proficiency, 0%. Lee Yun-ho hesitantly thought, there are no skill activation requirements. Secondly, the system screen displayed again, when equipped with any longsword, attack power plus 10. Proficiency, 0%. Looking at the system board, Lee Yun-ho understood what he had to do. Instead of allocating points to upgrade the skill, I have to increase its proficiency. Once again, the system announced, the swordsmanship skill tree has been unlocked with basic swordsmanship. Lee Yun-ho's eyes became more determined. He thought, the method to improve it is probably. Finally, it said, the basic swordsmanship course has been completed. New notification. Rewards have been distributed. Next, the system suggested, please exit through the door. Lee Yun-ho hesitated, looking back at the door. However, Lee Yun-ho seemed hesitant. He thought, if I was a normal person, I would probably be satisfied and leave at this point. After a while, the other him slowly stood up, looking directly into Lee Yun-ho's eyes. He thought, but, me. The other him viciously thrust his sword towards him. Lee Yun-ho, determined, didn't stop. He just wanted to squeeze out a little more benefit. Lee Yun-ho immediately counterattacked, using all his strength to clash against the opponent's fury, surprising the other him. Lee Yun-ho quickly dodged to the side, unleashing another move to support his copy. He jumped up, wielding his sword. His strong hand gripped the sword and he commanded, petrification. Immediately, his hand turned to stone, and he slammed it down, sending rocks flying towards the other him. He stepped back in fear. At this moment, the system appeared. Basic Swordsmanship LV1, skill proficiency has increased. Classroom effect applied, plus 1%. Sweat was slowly dripping from Lee Yun-ho's face. He smirked, thinking, as expected. Unlocking a skill is not the end. Lee Yun-ho gradually regained his strength and stood up, full of energy. Even without attending the class, just by being in this space, I can increase skill proficiency. The system announced, Basic Swordsmanship LV1, skill proficiency has increased, classroom effect applied, plus 1%. Reading this, Lee Yun-ho realized, I can increase skill proficiency. So, he spoke to the other him, hey, we need to do a little more in that class. Hearing that, the other him stared at him, confused. After a grueling battle, drops of sweat from hard work ran down to the ground. The system announced, Basic Swordsmanship skill proficiency has increased. LV1 to LV2, you have reached the maximum proficiency you can achieve in the Basic Swordsmanship class. Lee Yun-ho looked down and sighed, maximum level. Lee Yun-ho knelt down, stabbing his sword into the ground. The system announced, the Basic Swordsmanship classroom effect has been removed. You have completed all basic swordsmanship classes. Please exit through the door. But suddenly, no more announcements were made. Lee Yun-ho wondered, there are no more notifications. Lee Yun-ho looked at the empty space and tiredly thought, I've taken all the benefits I could get from here. Suddenly, he straightened himself and asked, I have a question. He held out his sword in front of him and said, You're not a fake, are you? The other him just stared at him without replying. Lee Yun-ho continued to ask him, Instructor? Assistant? Something like that? Suddenly, the other him asked, How did you know? His question surprised Lee Yun-ho. Looking down at his right foot, he slowly explained, Your right foot. You use it too well. I can't use my own foot as naturally as you can. Lee Yun-ho pointed his sword at him and said, Maybe because I've had a limp for 10 years, it's become a bit clumsy. But you use it so fluidly. Thanks to you I've learned that. The other him was surprised. This is the first time someone's ever figured out my true identity. It was just me being observant. Lee Yun-ho sheathed his sword and asked him, By the way, is that all there is to the class? I want to improve my swordsmanship further. The other him calmly replied, You have reached the maximum level in the basic class. Hearing that, Lee Yun-ho rested his sword on his shoulder and said decisively, There's no need to drag this out anymore, right? Let's move on to the next level. Hearing this, the other him didn't reply. Then, he smirked and said, All right, that sounds reasonable. He added, I'll show you a little something. It's been a while since I've had this kind of fun. He smiled maliciously and snapped his fingers. I will unlock an introduction class for you, he said, pointing towards a light source that appeared by the door beside Lee Yun-ho. Then, he instructed him, Don't push yourself too hard. Finally, Lee Yun-ho walked into the new door. A bright light shined into his eyes. He looked around and wondered, This is a forest. Then, Lee Yun-ho walked forward, looking at the trees around him. There were towering ancient trees all around. He touched a leaf and thought, Even the trees are green. I've never seen anything like this before. Suddenly, the system announced, The introductory swordsmanship trial class will now begin. Lee Yun-ho read the text and was surprised. A trial class? Is that? He said firmly. Check class objectives. At this moment, the system displayed information. Class objective. 1. Defeat stationary enemies 10 out of 100. 2. Defeat moving enemies 10 out of 50. 3. Defeat flying enemies 0 out of 10. Looking at it, Lee Yun-ho thought, Here it is, the class objectives. Lee Yun-ho said, Rewards for completion. After that, he received a notification from the system. Upon completing the introductory swordsmanship class, a special skill in the swordsmanship tree will be unlocked and the title of swordsman will be granted. However, in the trial class, you may leave without completing the objectives, but no rewards will be granted. Lee Yun-ho looked at what the system had put on the screen. So there is no reward without risk? That means this place is dangerous for me too. Lee Yun-ho stood there, his arms crossed, deep in thought. A world where if I don't get stronger, I will die. But this was also an opportunity to test himself, and Lee Yun-ho accepted this. Too reckless, but it's worth a try. Suddenly, something wiggled and touched his shoulder. His expression changed. Long vines wrapped around his body. Yun-ho, surprised and bewildered, shouted, What? Looking at it, he realized what was wrapping around him. What are these vines? Suddenly, it lifted him higher. Lee Yun-ho looked up in confusion and shouted, Where's it taking me? Suddenly, he saw something over there. Seeing a large creature with its mouth wide open, Lee Yun-ho thought, This isn't a tree, but, looking at the strange creature fiercely below him, he questioned, A flower? A swarm of bees was constantly buzzing around. A large carnivorous flower appeared. It was terrifyingly huge. The system announced, Return to the training center and end this gustatory trial. Yun-ho said tensely, A gustatory trial? What the hell is that? The carnivorous flower repeatedly opened its massive maw, trying to devour Yun-ho. The gap between our levels. This gap is truly enormous. It opened its sharp-toothed mouth, roaring. Yun-ho, terrified, turned pale, sweating profusely. Its massive size is like a building, with vines like snakes. This is really unfair. He thought, This is bad. Am I just a prey caught in its trap? In an instant, he was tightly wrapped by its tentacles. At the same time, its long tentacles were also wrapping around a pupa. Yun-ho glanced and saw a worm? In an instant, he was being brought to the open mouth, quickly approaching him. He covered his nose, thinking, The sweet scent I smelled before has turned foul. It pretends to be a flower, luring insects and then swallowing them whole. If I stay here, I'll die. Summon. Basic swordsmanship LV2 effect. Adjusts your attack stance. He instantly pulled out his demon-slaying sword. The carnivorous monster attacked him. Yun-ho decisively used his move, acceleration. But both his legs were tightly wrapped around. Yunho quickly grabbed the tentacles with his hands. In a life-or-death situation, he thought, the height of a 3- or 4-story building, unless I jump straight down, the fastest way is this way. Thinking that, Yunho jumped high, thrusting his sword into it. When I touched it earlier, it felt incredibly hard, but now it cuts through it easily, like jelly. Is this the effect of enhanced attack power? Petrification. Although he had petrified it, a heart was still beating inside its body. Yunho glanced and was surprised. What the heck? At this moment, the monster once again opened its fangs, quickly swinging its tentacles towards Yunho. I thought I had cut everything from the top down, he said. But there's another one? In a dangerous situation, he summoned his sword. In an instant, he slashed it. The monster was immediately cut in two and fell to the ground. He anxiously thought, I thought I was done. But suddenly, purple spots began bubbling from the monster's body. It's regenerating? While pondering, a monster suddenly lunged at him from behind. Yunho glanced, but it was too late. So, all of them will. In an emergency, no choice, just have to run to survive. Immediately, he quickly ran. There are 3 vines, and the problem is, even if I cut them, they will regenerate at an incredible speed. Direct confrontation is impossible. The level gap is too big. There are 3 vines, so even a surprise attack won't be effective. But how do I defeat that huge creature? If only there was an opening. Thinking that, he suddenly remembered the gap in its body. The gap! Quickly, Yunho took a leap, gaining height. Then, acceleration. Once again, he drew his sword. His eyes were firm, unlike the 2 following me from behind. He thought I had gotten rid of everything. Could one of them have been trapped? If this wasn't a designated area, they wouldn't be able to follow me. It's protecting its weakness. Weakness? Then, he smirked. There. With that, Yunho rushed and stabbed his sword into the middle of its body. The flesh of the giant vine was ripped open. Its heart was beating strongly inside. Found it, he thought in delight. Gradually, a large crack appeared in its body. The carnivorous flower cried out in pain before collapsing. Dead. After everything was over, the system displayed, you have defeated the slender hunter of the forest, Dronzer. I did it, he thought. Notification. Congratulations. You were the first in District 13 to overcome the plant barrier and defeat an enemy. Due to the first victory and the effects of the class, your basic swordsmanship LV21 has greatly increased, plus 10%. Check your rewards. Dronzer seed can be planted in soil to sprout. It grows best in hot, humid conditions with very high levels of oxygen. Must be handled with care. When it grows, it will begin to mimic the appearance of creatures around it. When cooked with a part of a specific creature and consumed, you can transform into that creature. However, only the appearance is copied, and the maximum time is 1 hour. Yunho looked at the reward in front of him and said, what is this reward? This is the first time he had received anything after defeating a monster. He was perplexed, not understanding. Transform into a creature. In case of emergency, this might be useful. Inventory. The problem is, those bees. They use their antenna-like stingers to pierce through hard shells. Their teeth are terrifying, but, the worst thing is, how can I deal with the entire swarm? Thinking that, he looked at the massive hive, with bees flying all around. Class objectives. 1. Defeat stationary enemies 1 out of 100. 2. Defeat moving enemies 0 out of 50. 3. Defeat flying enemies 0 out of 10.